and I saw Inspector Bruce pop in. I knew it was time. So it's time. We're here. We're live. Inspector Bruce, good evening. Buddy Carafano, how you doing? And everybody else is already here. Hippie Long's been here a bunch of times.
Hi, everybody. I'm on time tonight.
Might want to paint inside signal silver to reflect light out. I do it differently. I paint it the brightest white I can find because white reflects a lot more. Man, does that brighten up tail.
And it's easy to find a good white coating.
Let's see here. Moparquet's here a while ago. For some reason, this doesn't scroll. Oh, because it's all there. Buddy Carfano, Moparquet, Hippie Long. Okay, I watched the grill video. Oh, he's talking to her about painting. Yeah, I started.
Moparquet's been up.
I started painting.
Good.
I started painting them all white. I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago.
Man, they look bright when you do it that way. I gotta agree with you.
Does that make a difference? Card by Jones here, Buddy.
The numbers don't lie.
Hi to Buddy Carfano.
Thanks everybody for getting here early.
But silver's way better than black.
Oh yeah, or just dirt.
Well, you know, a lot of trailer lights are made with black plastic.
Something shiny.
And they don't put anything in there but a light bulb. So those are terrible. Man, the first time I had those, I said, all I have is white paint. I think I'll put that, and I put the white paint in there. It's like, oh my God.
Wow, we should have done
Why didn't I do this before? Yeah.
We should have done this.
Because I used to paint them all silver. See, Kim's working on a head.
I am working on a cylinder head. I have that 318 engine. I'm trying to figure out if I should throw it in the dumpster or put it together. And I'm trying to have 3 sets of cylinder heads. I had a set of cylinder heads that come off it when I got it. And those, the 2 center exhaust ports on like 2 and 3, the guides are so sloppy that from the valves clanking around, they've caused recession of the valve seat. So they need guides and seats in 2 of the cylinders on both heads, either side. And they told me that that's common because there's a exhaust crossover port, and they're side by side, and their exit ports are side by side, so it gets hotter there. So it's more common for the guides in the center to go bad because of the heat. Anyways, I had those heads resurfaced before I realized that the guides were bad and the seats needed done. So I set them aside and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I bought these because these are shaft-mounted rockers, and that's what all the LA engines had. And I was missing some of the spacers, and I got these from Chris at Waft Motors. That's how we met him originally. We went down to Nashville and bought them from him. Waft Racing, yes. Who is super cool, that we just met last weekend. Anyways, months ago, years ago maybe.
Yeah, we met him.
That we met him. When I went down, I bought a transmission from him to rebuild, and I bought these heads just for some of the hardware. He wanted rid of them anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'll take them. But I had discounted them as anything of value because they're 360 heads, and they're like open. They're pretty big. But they have the bigger valve size. The regular valve size are like 294, and these are 202, and exhausts.
I mean 194.
I don't know, something like that.
They're not
right?
294. Those would be enormous.
Anyways, the intake and exhaust valves are marginally larger, but percentage-wise, the area gets bigger quick because you're talking area, not diameter. Anyways,
I gotta say a couple of hellos. John Wilburn, good evening. How you doing? It's good to see you here. Dead Cougar Garage, good evening. And Luis, how are you doing? Hey, Luis, you said something I thought was pretty cool last video we did, last live show we did. You were saying how your American Graffiti was your favorite movie from 1973. You're a young guy. I didn't even know you knew about that movie. That's pretty cool, man, because that's one of my favorite movies. I like all the cars. I kind of like the movie. It was fun. That's good to hear. That was good to hear. What else? I don't know.
John Wilburn, purveyor of the No Name Nationals event, brought to you by the American Hot Rod Association and John Wilburn. In Sikeston, Missouri is a cool place to meet automotive people who are YouTube oriented, and it is in Sikeston, Missouri. It's at the end of the year. end of summer. It's one of those last events before the weather changes.
Man, they nail it too.
Really
it's
great
really
place.
nice. It's usually kind of warm. Some people complain it's too hot, but for me, it's just perfect weather. It's just warm, nice days. And then like a week later, it starts getting cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the track is nice. The people are amazing.
Yep.
Even if you don't have a car or a YouTube channel, you probably want to go. If you're interested in anything that has to do with cars on YouTube, you probably want to go. Encourage your fellow, anybody else that you watch, encourage them to check out the No Name Nationals and check out John Wilburn. He's live every Friday night to talk about car stuff and chat with community.
Oscar Walton's here. Good evening. Tommy Hanlon from Dublin. Good evening. And they're all saying it to each other. Dead Cougar Garage is 2-lane blacktop.
I heard that's a good movie. I've never seen it. Am I a bad car person for not ever seen that movie?
I've never seen it.
I know Dee Dee Speed Shop you've never seen it either? We should have a movie night. Watch it. We should have a Discord movie night. Whose Discord can we broadcast a movie on? You're allowed to do that to a private audience on Discord? Well, no one will stop you.
Tavo's here, lurking from down under. And see Tavo there? See his face? Because he's walking around on the bottom of the earth. He's faces that direction. He's
upside down.
His face is that direction.
I should have
Pete's Custom Car Shop. Man, I missed I had a couple important phone calls I had to take. So I saw you were live and I missed it. Sorry about that.
Tavo, I saw you post a video that you're not going to do your YouTube channel anymore. I understand. I feel bad about it. But, I'm glad that, sometimes you just have to make a decision. It's not for you. But, we get a lot of people who are critical, and I just have learned to, I don't care that people are critical. They can go and pound salt, I guess, as they say. But I'm glad, I like that you said, that you'll still be in, don't go away. If you don't want to do YouTube, don't do it.
Buddy Carfon says the original Gone in 60 Seconds, one of my favorites. Me Too, same thing. And it was the better of the two. Dead Cougar Garage says, rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Okay, I've seen that twice here tonight. Well, I don't know what happened.
How did we miss that news? I bet you it's all over the automotive news.
Who's this? I don't know how to pronounce it. M. Leiser? I know who it is.
M. Leiser? Who is it?
It's one of the viewers from No, Pete's Custom Car Shop.
Oh, one of Pete's viewers.
Yeah, because they've been here before.
Welcome in. We're learning. What name should we use when referring?
I don't know how to pronounce that. It looks like
M. Leiser.
I've never seen M.
M. Leiser. There's no M. Leiser.
There's PL Pole. There's BL Bull. But I never see ML Mull. So I don't know how you want me to pronounce that.
Hollywood Nights. Never seen it. Oh. Yeah. How come I never saw these movies? I never had car friends sit and watch movies with me. I saw the one that has Henry Winkler where they pulled a car out of the football field. I don't remember what that one was called.
Pete's Custom Car Shop says, I got the OBS software and gave your channel a shout out at the end. He told everyone that you were having a live tonight. Oh, cool.
Pete?
And Michelle.
Is that what Pete said?
Yep, and Michelle.
Were they able to use OBS yet?
And Michelle.
They're probably still testing.
And Michelle's here.
Hey, Michelle. Welcome in.
From Pete.
I hope you guys get it sorted out. If you have questions or problems, feel free to ask.
And Pete calls.
Send us a private message.
Hey, Leiser. Corvette Summer. They're naming off all these car movies. I remember watching when I was a kid. And I was already working on stuff. I was already fixing bicycles, and I knew wrench sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm watching some movie, and Elvis Presley is underneath a car, and he's working on it, and there's a girl there, and he goes, hey, hand me a wrench. And she grabs a wrench and hands it to him. And I thought, well, that's pretty stupid. How do you know what size wrench? Hand me a wrench. That seems silly to me. Even when I was a kid, that seems silly.
But that's because they're actors, not mechanics.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the world today is that the mechanics can be the actors now. It used to be you really couldn't do both because if you were a real mechanic, you were busy being a mechanic.
Yeah, that's what's good about YouTube. The mechanics really are the actors.
Yeah, multi-talented. Yeah, someday I would like to learn how to be an actor.
Well, we met an actor the day we bought my car.
That's right, we've met some actors.
He was. I learned a lot that day from him. He's a guy that played Pablo Escobar in some movie.
It's not easy being an actor.
And he was talking about he was kind of short. He was about my height. Maybe I'm like 5'7". He was like 5, not the same. I don't know. I don't know exactly what he was, but he was telling me like there's real tall people and real short people, but you're all supposed to look like the same height. And he says a lot of times you'll have actors standing there and they don't jump, but he goes they're standing there like this. And other people standing there like this with like things under their shoes so they all look right in the scenes. And it's like, man, I never even thought of that, you know?
Right.
And he goes, we got to do the whole movie like that. Like, wow. Quentin Tarantino's Death Car. Let's see, Luis says, okay, Stingray was a great movie from 1978. Man, I don't even know what that is. Oh, Dead Cougar Garage says that Elvis movie ain't bad. See, I just remember, I don't think I ever saw it since then. So I was a little kid. I don't remember what the movie was about. All I remember is that stupid scene where they went.
With the wrench.
Lizer. M. Lizer? Says, Ann Margaret was an accomplished motorcyclist. Ann Margaret was a big. I was a young guy. She was quite a bit older than me. But she was still, we were both quite a bit younger. And I don't even know where I was. God, I'm thinking I was somewhere in New York or something, some event, and I turned around and she's standing like 3 feet from me. It's like, oh my God, it's like one of the best looking women I've ever seen.
I have met some very beautiful women.
We didn't meet. She was just there, and then she was moving one way, and I was like standing still. And it's like, man, that's who that is. And then there was another guy I was in the Air Force with. He was like 3 or 4 years younger than me. And he had the hots for Ann Margaret. I said, man, you don't know how good looking she is. Oh, geez. But Carpano says, never meet an actor, but I've seen many clowns. But I've seen many clowns, maybe. And then Oscar Waltz says Gran Torino was good. I haven't seen that. Lizer says Redline 7000. And Louise says happy 16th anniversary of Shrek Forever After.
Has it been that long already?
And then CD Burlock's here. Good evening, Buff. I found a new feature in YouTube. This girl in Russia has her shorts translated and spoken in English. Oh, you're probably talking about Evelina. Evelina, who is in, she's actually a girlfriend of a guy named Ivan, and they both live in Thailand because he had to leave Russia if he didn't want to go get blown up in the war. So they're living in, and what she does, I mean, this is a good thing about AI. It not only translates what she says, it makes her mouth move, looks like she's speaking English, and it's perfect. She doesn't speak English. She speaks about, like she can say yes, no, thank you, about like that. So
that's scary because they can make anybody say anything anywhere.
And then C.D. Burlock says Lena Trader. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody different. So
he likes Cannonball Run. I remember watching Cannonball Run. That was funny.
So
fun with cars.
This girl that I know of that does this, I've been watching her boyfriend for a long time in Thailand, and he's a car guy, which is kind of why I started watching him. But he put a V8 engine in a Datsun, and that's how I got started. Now he's doing other stuff, but still, her videos, I don't watch her much, but that's a really good use for AI. Mexican Specs here, how you doing? Because she writes all her own stuff. She says what she wants to say. It just makes it into English.
Translates it.
It's pretty cool. Michelle says, and Lizer can be very sarcastic, but hilarious. Okay. That's allowed. Oh, this one that C.D. Burlock knows says she is a currency trader. Oh, that kind of trader. Okay. He says 45 years ago, my favorite movie from 1981. What was that? I missed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's already scrolled by probably. And yeah, Mexican Spec, how are you doing? I didn't know if you were going to make it tonight.
How come? What happened?
Oscar Walton says the Puss in Boots movie was shockingly good.
That was a movie.
I don't know what that is.
Puss in Boots was a fairy tale, and they made it into a movie by Pixar. It was just a cartoon movie. It was good though. Like the animation was high quality. It was like a theater cartoon, not like a TV cartoon. They had good jokes and stuff like that.
Can I call you Veracruz? Why, Veracruz, that's where Mexican Spec was. I mean, he drove a car over there and they left and came back. But I don't know if that's why he's saying that. Oh, yeah, it says, no, I don't know. He's known as that. Nogales, maybe. Yeah, because he goes to Nogales. He delivers cars to Nogales more often than Veracruz. But he, just if he's sending something to the east coast of the U.S., he takes them to Veracruz and they put them on a ship. But
Mexican? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But then if he's going into central U.S., goes up to the Arizona border.
Mexican?
And D-Man's here. A lot of people coming in. I'm sorry, Kim. I'm going. I'm not letting you talk. I'm sorry. Go ahead and talk.
Mexican Spec says that Tony was on with John Wilburn. Was that this year? Real recently? Did this just happen?
You guys missed Tony's live. He was on with John Wilburn. Recently?
Yeah. Like, is this really a thing?
Is this really a thing?
What happened?
Because John and I used to be on with Tony. I was on with Tony every week, and John Wilburn was on sometimes, but he quit doing that. And that'd be interesting if he's back.
Yeah. There was a bunch of friction. There was some things that happened, but it's been a lot of time has passed. When people change and,
Oh, no. Mexican Spec says the Ram Charger didn't get on the ship this month. The client isn't happy.
Oh, I'll bet. It was tonight. Oh, okay. They were on tonight.
There's some things that just aren't under your control, and then people get pissed off.
Well, I mean, disappointed and unhappy are not necessarily the same thing. Just because they're unhappy doesn't mean... Oh, Fun with Cars told me. I didn't know either. You didn't know they were going to be on. Okay, so we're going to have to rewatch that. Or somebody watch it and tell us what the gist of it was. Did anybody see it? Darn it.
Well, what happened to John Wilbur? He already came and went. He flies by sometimes.
Oh, that's right. He was here. John, what happened?
He was here minutes ago.
What happened?
He's not responding to this.
What did you and Tony talk about?
So I don't know.
Is there some new and exciting thing happening this year? Or was it just chit-chat? Or what's going on?
I hope is coming back in theaters to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Cars, says Luis.
Oh, he was pissed. Okay, his client is mad. I mean, did you warn him that there was a possibility? I know they were saying it might be difficult to get it on there.
That ship only goes once a month?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they have to fill it up. And if they take, various cargo, not all the same thing.
If you're importing a car from Mexico,
it could take a month.
You're going to have to expect sometimes the things might not go perfect. Yeah. He delayed the payment for 2 weeks, and finding a truck took another. It's not a surprise. It didn't make it, but you can't tell the client that.
Okay, well, maybe it's best not to discuss it then.
Yeah.
I understand the Mexican Spec. It's not easy.
Todd Saw is here. Good evening.
But sometimes people will voice their disappointment as anger, but once they really have time to process the disappointment, they're more reasonable. So I hope for your sake that he comes around and
now I understand.
Recognizes that the logistics are very difficult.
Now I understand why it's only once a month, because the ship comes from South America to Mexico to Florida, so it's only once a month.
Right. It probably circles the current.
The current.
Yeah, well, there's a big current there. If you follow the current, you can use your fuel much more efficiently.
It'll now get there around the 4th of July. Well, reason to
A
celebrate.
long way. Yeah, there you go. America.
Says I talked them down a bit. Good.
I'm sorry you had to do that, Mexican Spec. It's very difficult. I'm sure you're disappointed as well about the delay.
Yeah, and that's the
There's
other
no
thing.
doubt.
He's just as disappointed.
Yeah,
He wants
yeah, I
his
know.
customer to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's not something
And I'm
he
sure
can
the
control.
shipping people aren't really thrilled to have to tell you they can't do it either, but
Or they don't
it
care.
is what it is. Well,
It is what it is.
probably, like you can only put so many containers on a ship, and they have to take the ones
Well,
that pay the bills.
Except it's not a container ship. It's a dry ship. I think so.
Oh, I thought he was renting container space for it, but that might have been
containers.
That might have been another one.
I've shipped stuff in containers, and you got to load the container and make sure everything's tied down. And then a truck comes and picks the container up, and then it's out of your hands till it gets to where it goes, and they unpack it. And you hope everything's okay inside. And I've had stuff okay, and I've had stuff not okay. And I had the container come back from Afghanistan. This when
Are you allowed to talk about
Yeah,
that
I can
stuff?
talk about
Okay.
this. So who cares? I mean, we all know we left Afghanistan. So it came back from Afghanistan. It was 2 Kawasaki mules inside a 20-foot container, and the idiots didn't tie them down. They didn't put wheel chocks. They didn't do anything. So those, they're on ships, they're on and off trucks, everything else. Those 2 Kawasaki mules were in there smashing into each other for months. And then we got them. Well, yeah, it comes all the way from Afghanistan on, it's got to make it to a port.
Through the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, Afghanistan's a landlocked country, so somehow it gets from Afghanistan to some port, which is, I assume, on a truck or a train or something. And then it gets to a port, which happened to be in Texas. And then we're in Arizona, so it gets shipped on a train all the way to the coast of California. Then, and it can't stay. It goes right by us in Yuma. We can see it go by, but we can't do anything about it
because you can't unload it there.
Right. So it goes all the way to the port in California where they unload it, put it on trucks. Then it comes to us, and then we open it up. And it's like, why didn't these idiots tie these down? They're all smashed up.
Because they don't belong.
Oh, the stupid logistics guys, which was me. Yep.
Get blamed for not unpacking the
you guys
properly.
Didn't unpack it right. Well, let's see here. Mexican Spec says it's a roll-on, roll-off on a huge vessel. They move containers as well. Hippie Long says Kyle was an action figure. Says he was that good. What happened? I don't know what happened. It's like came in late.
We're out of the news cycle. Yeah, what were you doing while you were waiting? Oh, you were on the phone. He had phone.
I got up early, and I did a lot of stuff today.
Yeah, but
then I took a nap in the afternoon, and then I got phone calls while I was taking my nap. And so when I woke up, it's like, oh, I got to take care of this. And then I was coming up close on the show tonight, so I went through the shower in a hurry. Kim got home early from her thing.
Yeah, I did for change.
And then we got up here late, and she says, don't worry. I said, I'm never that late. But everything worked well, so we're here.
We even ran the update on OBS.
We ran the update on OBS. I'm like, don't do that. She goes, oh, it worked fine.
Yeah,
like,
I already ran the update on the other computer and didn't have no problem.
Unless it doesn't work. Does anyone notice that the CUDA they raised at the start of 2-lane blacktop would have had a Hemi or a torque plate because it was a 340 AR CUDA?
People make those things, but it's a movie.
Todd saw. Look back at my chat, Buff. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta scroll back. I'm sorry I missed some stuff because I was chattering about some unnecessary crap. Todd Saw says, hi, Luis. I would like to say the passing of Kyle Busch unexpectedly at age 41. Let us know. Make the most out of every day. I think it's scary. Oh, okay, but I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. Maybe I should tell what's going on with me. I don't know. I said I wasn't getting, but maybe
you can if you want.
See, Biofly's here.
It's yours to discuss or not discuss.
Biofly clings to a round digital speedometer display. Digital speedometer. So I would like to say the passing of Kyle Busch unexpectedly at age 41. Let us know. Okay, so what happened to me was I had this stupid growth on my ear. doctor, specialist. They cut it off, did a biopsy, and it's cancer. So now they want me to go to a different doctor, and they got to cut. There's more, so they got to cut more.
He's been stressed.
So
I told him he could talk about it. He wasn't sure.
Actually, I took it quite well. I'm 72. This kind of thing happens. I think it's just in my ear. I hope they don't end up taking a lot of my ear off, but we'll see what happens.
You got 2 ears.
Got 2. Yeah, you got an extra ear, and then I don't know. Maybe I'll tell the rest of it.
I don't know if you're allowed. Are you allowed?
Yeah, he told me it was okay if we videoed it. We could make a video out of it and everything.
Videoed it?
We are going to video it.
Oh, yeah. That. Go ahead.
It's something else. It's another part of that same story.
I think it's silly, but
okay. Yeah, I think it's silly too, but I think I'm going to do it. So I know I'm going to do it. So we went to WAF racing over the weekend, and he had an open house, and we really had a good time. He had a lot of cars there, a lot of people there.
It was cool.
Professor P was there, and I ate with Professor P. We sat there and talked, had a good time. But I knew this was coming up. I already knew it. I knew I had to go get more of my ear taken away. So, you know what WAF Racing does? He does a lot of 3D printing. I said, do you do scanning? He goes, oh, yeah, we got scanner. We can scan parts and all this. I go, would you scan an ear? He goes, what? Would you scan my ear? Because I got some cancer in there. They're going to take some of my ear away, and I want to get it scanned before they take anything away. And then, you know, you could 3D print me an ear, and I could have like a bright green ear, like an alien. Or Kim goes, oh, you could do it in carbon fiber. Or I'm going, or you could do it in skin color. And he goes, sure. So I'm going to go over there. He's going to scan my ear, so we have a file of the original ear. But I'm hoping they just end up not taking much. I hope they don't take much. That's all.
I mean, there's really no indication of how extensive the problem is, but...
Well, feeling it, I know that I know what the cancerous thing felt like. I know what it felt like. So I can feel it. I mean, I know it had nerves in it, so I know what it felt like inside my ear. Well, I can feel there's something in there. But I also feel like it doesn't go very far. So I'm thinking they're probably not going to be taking a lot. But and I had a friend that had this surgery, and what they do is they take some and they look at it in a microscope. They take some more, and each time they look at it, they keep taking more until they know they don't have any more cancer. I forget what that's called. There's a name for that surgery. So I know how it works. They explain what they're going to do, and it'll be whatever it is. It'll be what it is. Kyle Busch was scheduled to race in the Coca-Cola 600 Sunday, was hospitalized with a sudden illness. Next day he was gone. Man, a sudden illness.
That is really sudden.
It was a sudden hurt. Yeah. See, bro, like my mom, a cat eats inside, just had a baby. Oh, probably kitten in the corner. It's too hot outside anyway. I heard at least one. It probably has more than one, but maybe one. I've never seen just one.
Maybe there are more outside. Yeah, potentially. Congrats on the kittens.
Rare cat has one. Maybe they're more outside. Yeah, you gotta make sure that gets them all together. That's kittens. I set up to read the ALDL. I set up to read the ALDL connector display miles per hour and the broadcast the rest of the scan data to its Wi-Fi web page, so I can use my phone as a scan data. It's kind of neat for $24.
That is kind of neat, yeah. I would like to have a little heads-up miles per hour display because I don't have my speedometer just it goes like it doesn't give me anything.
I just heard something about those things that you get on your phone, and they're either cheap or the thing is cheap and then the phone thing is free. You know why it's free? Because somebody captures all that information, what cars you have, what data you have, your phone number, all that stuff, and then they sell you stuff. But anyway, you might already know that. Get pointy ears. Dr. Spock. Oh, what was his name? Mr. Spock? Yeah, Spock. That's going to get a 3D printed ear?
Yeah.
I write tie-dye colors.
I told him to get carbon fiber so it's ultra light so it can hear faster.
Carbon fiber ear. That would look funny, but that's like something to do.
Valfly is going to use his phone as a scan tool. As a scan tool would be cool. For miles per hour, I'd rather have a little dedicated display that just stays there. So
Tavo says, had another doctor visit and assessment. Driving restrictions have been reduced. Well, that's good. Unrestricted car license now, but won't reinstate truck or motorcycle classes.
well, that is a bummer. But you're making progress. Progress is a good thing.
You have not lost your ability to be free.
Yeah, and just take care of yourself, and with good fortune, and that hopefully you'll be back to being yourself before much long. I know it's been rough, Tavo. I'm glad you're still around.
Relax says, yeah, another one. Just had one. It's black and the baby is Siamese, all white.
Oh, neat.
Luis says 3D print, nice. Oh yeah, that's it. Let's just Saber. Mohs surgery, MOHS, Mohs surgery. Hope it goes well. Yeah, he knows what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
They gave me. I read all about it and everything. I just couldn't remember the name of it. Find a pair of Spock ears from the '70s pup. Remember those? Fun. No, I didn't know about those. I'll play the cool part. Man, this is scrolling. I got to go backwards. The cool part about this speedometer display is it didn't have to write the code. I had Google's AI do it for me. Oh, okay.
Really? That's kind of neat. I mean, that's not like a destructive or like bad use of AI.
Very good. It says you need your ears for the glasses to hook to. Man, you just solved the problem for me. I didn't know what kind of glue I was going to use to stick an ear on. If they take the whole thing, I want to be able to glue it on there. I'm thinking, man, that's gonna give problems to the skin that's there and everything. No, you solved the problem. I glue the ear to the glasses, so when I put the glasses on, it looks like I have an ear. You solved the problem.
I was thinking magnetic.
Todd saw Waze is the best navigation app. It shows miles per hour. Well,
Waze.
So does.
I've heard of that. I've never used it.
So does Google Maps. We use it. We were just using that, and I was calling out because their speedometer's wrong. So I was calling out the miles an hour off Google Maps. It's 52 degrees in southeast Minnesota right now. Man, that's amazing. It's a little warmer than that here, but not a lot warmer. Very cool to my English teacher at high school. Had real Spock ears. One of those people.
Valfly says he uses a used cell phone. Yeah, that's a great use for.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Then they're not robbing your stuff from you.
I think it is.
Oh yeah, Tavo, I'm totally on board with the Spock ears for Buff. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, you got to practice doing the thing with your. Can you do the thing with your fingers really easily?
Oh, I used to be able to do that, but my hand won't do that. My hand will not do that anymore.
You're going to have to practice. We're going to have to make like a crutch that does it for you then. Scissors.
Oh, the display on the phone is reversed, so you set it on the dash, get the reflection on the windshield. It's a heads-up display. In an airplane, that's called a HUD. Well, I guess it is in a Corvette and a Grand Prix and cars like that, too. A HUD. Heads-up display. It's backwards, so it's frontwards. Let's see. Tavo, glad to hear you're less restricted. Yeah, my stepmom she lived in California where my dad lived, but she ended up moving out here, so she's in Clarksville now. But she's 92, and she's lost her ability to drive. And she and I were on the phone. She goes, you don't know. It's like, she goes, you lose your freedom. You just lose your freedom. Well, she's got a friend, and he's still able to drive, so she can get around. But she says, he's got his place. I got my place. We're not staying together. She goes, so yeah, I've lost my freedom. Pete's Custom Car Shop says, I just bought a Harley.
Oh, congratulations, Pete.
Yeah, Buddy Carpano, losing the ability to drive is horrible. Trust me. So that's what happened to you. You've lost your ability to drive. Yeah.
It's rough. It's a big adjustment.
You told us that once before, and I'd forgotten it.
We all want our freedom.
Hippie Long says, "File. That was a heads-up decision."
Yeah,
Todd's got it. It's this. Why won't my fingers won't do that anymore? When I try to do that, this happens.
You know what? When I was really sick, I was in a wheelchair for about 6 months. I wasn't using a wheelchair for everything, but I really did need it for I couldn't do any serious walking. But since I was able, they were like, well, can you drive safely? And I'm like, well, I can stand up. I can't walk, so I can push the brake. Just as it's easier to push a brake on a car than it is to stand. And they were like, yeah, that makes sense. And I told him, like, I try to make good judgments. I don't go far from home. I don't drive on the highway. I don't drive places where I was just driving close to home. You know, the grocery store and the doctor's appointments was about all I was driving anyways. And they were like, all right, just be careful. And so they didn't take my driver's license when I was sick. And I mean, I still restrict my driving now. I won't go. He knows. He'll be like, let's go to the store. I'm like, no, it's 4 o'clock. We're going to hit traffic. I don't want to do it.
She didn't want to be in the traffic.
No, I can't handle it.
There's too many assholes.
It stresses me.
Most people are pretty good. But there's always 2 or 3 assholes that are like really in some giant truck driving like right on your bumper with their bright lights on, just gotta be ahead of you.
We're really careful. We plan our trips. We look at the time. We check the traffic. If we have to go through Nashville, it's a big operation, making sure that we're ready. We go around big places that are problematic. We'll go like the long way around to avoid confusion. And
Bob Price says, never throw away those old smartphones. They're useful. Computers. Yeah, I've got one, and that's what I was using it for.
I don't know.
It
we
died.
use them up. We use them till they're done.
My last one died, and
the battery don't work.
Then I paid a guy to put a screen on it. It worked for about another year, and now that one's dead again. It's done. So it's done.
But you can get computers really cheap. You can get little albino
computers.
There's a little circuit board computers. You can get them.
Oh, you mean like an Arduino or something?
Arduino. You could get little computers for things like that, and you can buy little displays.
Raspberry Pis, yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of little do-it-yourself little things that you can get.
We used to use Raspberry Pis
kind of stuff.
And Arduinos. We used them a lot where I worked. And
Todd Saw says that they were going to amputate both of his legs 3 years ago. Now he can hike 3 miles. And he knows how scary it is to face lost mobility. It's terrifying. When I was in that wheelchair, I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to function properly again. And you know what? I talked to the doctors. I'm like, when is this going to let up? How is it? And they didn't know.
Michelle says, my comment isn't coming up for some reason. Are you on live chat or are you on
Did we miss our comment?
Top chat? Well, I didn't see it come up, or I may have missed it because it's scrolling
Scroll
by
back
pretty quickly.
real quick and see if it comes.
So if you're
That's right. She had surgery last Friday for her ear.
Let's see. Oh,
for her hearing. Remember we talked about it.
I don't see anything.
Are you healing well?
I don't see anything.
Tell us how things are going, Michelle.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We have some new people in the chat, like Pete and his wife, and some of the other people who are new here. We really appreciate it.
You know what happened?
It's great having a community of people to talk with.
You know what happened is Pete and Michelle brought in people from their channel, which is really cool.
And I hope they're enjoying. Everybody's been super cool. We haven't had to say anything. You guys must have a good community. And then
Jay from What It's Like, he's got a big channel, and he's brought people in. That's pretty cool. And then there's some that have come in from 390 Wagon Master, some of the CD people. And, we're all helping each other. CD Burlot says top/all, Duff. That's on a phone. It's top or live on a computer. Like, we don't see top or all. We say top or live. So you've got, there's different, depending on the device, there's different names for these things. And you don't want to be on top. Because then, if you're on top chat, or whatever they might call it in some other device, YouTube, they, what do you call it? They decide what you're going to see. They moderate it.
Barry Curtis
really
said, when they want to test my driving, I suppose I better use my right foot for braking. Yeah, just for the test. Just
that's right. Cochlear. Is that like a cochlear implant where you can, it makes so you can hear again? I think we were talking about that.
She had a couple of complications, but all went well in the end. That's great. And June 15th, she gets a device programmed. Oh, there must be a lot of anticipation for that. Congratulations. It's scary and difficult. There's always like hoops to jump through to keep that kind of process moving. So I'm glad you've got a date and you're getting through it. That's awesome.
Very good. It says when I'm older, they want to test my driving. I suppose I better use my right foot for braking. My father got to the point where he was starting to have vision problems, and he says he got to the point where he said, "I'm only driving on familiar roads in the daytime." And then he said, I shouldn't be driving. And California gave him a driver's license like for 10 years when he's like 88 years old. They made him go in for all these tests, and he had to open all the windows in the car, and this woman walks around the car and whispers, "Where am I? Where am I?" And he had to tell her where she was. He passed all this stuff. They gave him a license like for 10 years. He laughed. He goes, "I got a license till I'm 98 years old." Of course, he didn't live that long. He thought the whole thing was stupid,
Well,
They ought to be testing me every year, he says.
Yeah, but I think if you have some kind of complications, then they'll force you to get retested and stuff like that. So if you're responsible about it and safe, then there's no reason for them to bother.
I gotta scroll back. Firefly says Arduinos are now falling out of date.
That makes sense. Yeah.
The ESP32 is the next big hobby computer. That is what is built in my round. Okay, that's what's in your round odometer display. Well, I thought you said speedometer. Oh, odometer support. Oh, that's cool. Great part about this gauge display is I can swipe to the next data item in the OBD1 stream to view it. Man, an OBD1 stream, nobody uses those anymore. I'm glad to see somebody's paying attention to that. Because that was the first stuff I did with those. Remember those little keys? Those little keys you stick in and look at the flashing lights?
That's like 1980s.
Yeah, I was using
that Dodge truck.
I was using that in the 80s. But it's good to see somebody using them.
What else do we have that's OBD1 around here?
We went back systems to...
Oh, I think the big blue Dodge truck's probably OBD1.
We don't even have OBD1.
I don't know if we have anything that actually runs on OBD1 anymore.
Tavo says, I never could brake left-footed, so many manual cars and trucks do. My left foot just wants to stomp down on the floor every time. Some of the cars back in the late 60s, they had brake pedals that are like this wide, so you could use both feet. But then they teach you not to do it. And it's like, man, I used my left foot all the time, but you had to be careful. What the problem was, working at brake shop, you could always tell people that rest their foot on the big wide pedals because they wear the brakes out 7,000 or 8,000 miles. And, yeah, you shouldn't do that. See, Burlock, really, by the way, I just learned you can auto-translate on your end. A girl in the Philippines mentioned it. You could, there's so much stuff like that, but the ones that are instant where it makes their mouth look like it, to me, that's a really cool AI.
That was rough. Thanks.
Hippie on the show. I watch videos on people's reaction after implant. It's like a miracle.
Yeah. I think they can do that with vision, too.
I'm going to skip a bunch of them here. I'm sorry, because it's just they're scrolling up so quick. I can't do it. Tavo says,
I felt dizzy.
Dizzy.
That was tough.
We saw him on the weekend. There's a guy, Dizzy Izzy, if you don't know him. He's popped in here before. Dizzy Izzy's, he went to WAP Racing's open house, and he drove all the way from Missouri. He brought his race car on a trailer. Did a big old burnout, put it back on the trailer. And then went back to Missouri. He's obviously the one that came the longest distance.
Yeah, you got the long haul award, I'll tell you that.
Let's see what it's already scrolled. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm not keeping up with the chat. Firefly, yep, it's for my '94 wagon.
I'm gonna replace you if you can't do your job.
I can only read so fast, and I want to see everything, but I can't. Okay. Pete says I race modified and using both feet. The way you can drive it. Yeah, I used to watch that all the time. That's I thought you were handing me this. You are. Okay, I'm not paying attention to chat because I'm paying attention to this. Okay, so I'm going in. I'm going to compress. Tell me when.
Good. Okay. Good.
Very Cuda says, I only left foot brake in an automatic. Yeah, you can't left foot brake in a
Okay, and
manual.
release.
Okay, I gotta go backwards. Oh, you ready?
Go ahead, zip it out. Okay,
Does everybody know what we're doing here?
we're talking on the internet.
No, we're taking, she's taking valves out, and I'm, we're compressing spring.
Go ahead.
Bias.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Good.
Okay. Wow, I still have my
Release.
No. Okay, I can't do both.
Yeah. A little more. Okay, you do check. Put your wrench down. You do check.
Okay, because I can't do both. I'm messing up.
You're fine. That's what- I need to get me a pan to put this.
Okay. Okay, wow, I still have my OBD1 scan tool by OTC, the OTC Monitor 4000E. Just used it Monday on an 84 CCC carb 2500 Chevy truck. And you've been doing this stuff for a while if you got one of those.
Man, that's old.
And I was doing airplanes, like 80% and probably 20% used cars. So I was doing the, jumper, the OBD1.
Oh, I remember when you counted the flashes.
Counted flashes and stuff, but that usually got me through anything I needed to get through. And CD Burlock says, I used the brake on the loop on ramp to the freeway. Oh, can you ride the brake around there? Todd, yes, Pete's Custom Car Shop Racing Ovals is a 2-pedal must. Man, I remember I used to go to these sprint car races all the time. And they had some stupid race where the drivers all took their wives' cars out there on the track and raced them. So these guys are like sprint car drivers, or maybe stock, the sportsman class stock car racers. They're out there in their wives' cars racing around the track. Man, that's when you learn what they're really doing. Because you see the brake light on as they're accelerating around the turn. And I was watching all that, and I'm going, man, I was young and I was a teenager, and I learned what was going on. Because the brake lights were coming on. Folks might appreciate if you explain what you're doing to the cylinder head.
Who says that?
Todd saw.
What did he ask?
Folks might appreciate it if you explain what you're doing to your cylinder head.
I was talking about it, and I got interrupted. And
I know. I was trying to read this.
Well,
and
we're talking about movies and
three
stuff.
things at the same time.
Everybody's talking about movies. I figured I'd get to it later in the stream, and we were just
okay. So they want to know.
Well, I'm just gonna disassemble it. It's filthy. It's filthy. I already did the other one. It was on the bench earlier. I was scraping the gasket surfaces, but it needs taken apart. There's tons of carbon. I'll show you one of the valves out of the. This will look like an advertisement for one of those engine additives that destroys carbon buildup. I've never seen so bad. Look how bad the carbon buildup is on this valve. Look at it. It's just stacked up. They were both like that, and this one it fell off. Why would it build up so much? Can you imagine how heavy it is for this valve to close? Performance eliminated. Anyways, that all needs cleaned up. The ports are all gummed up with carbon. All the surfaces need scraped and inspected to make sure they're all true. I don't know if I have to take it. The other one had good guides, valve guides. The exhaust valves are all burned. I guess I'm gonna have to buy replacement ones. I don't know yet. So yeah, this is as far as I can tell, this is the best set. I had 3 sets. Dr. Go gave me a set of closed chamber heads, but they have cracks that extend from the valve, like up into the chamber, not between the valves. I've heard that the cracks between the valves are no big deal, but they actually have cracks that are kind of longer that go up into the chamber. And I'm worried that those will extend into the water jacket and then cause,
See what Firefly sees says? Soak those valves in naphtha.
Yeah, that could do it.
We have a gallon right there.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, we'll do that when the time comes. Something like that, at least. So anyways, they absolutely, these ones, I haven't hit one yet, but that head, all the valve seals, especially the exhaust valve seals, were all fossilized and cracked. All the stuff you see, it's an older high mileage head. But it's, as far as I can tell, these are the best old junk heads that I have. And I just don't see spending $2,000-$3,000 rebuilding this motor. It's just a 318. It's just a 318. If I'm going to spend a bunch of money rebuilding a motor, it probably should be like a Hemi or an LS. Like, that's what everybody wants to see.
Heavy amounts. So I use sonic cleaner. You mean like an ultrasonic cleaner? Yeah.
That's what all the big YouTubers are doing.
I got a friend out. He's got an ultrasonic cleaner. He keeps saying, get one. Yeah. I want to buy everything.
Can you zip this one out? We'll zip out 2 more, and then you can talk for a few minutes.
Say when.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh!
It's okay. Keep going. Okay.
Man, what was that noise?
It was stuck. That happens.
Okay, it wasn't like something broke.
No, it was just they just they seize, and that when it releases, that happens. Okay, the other way. We'll immediately go and do the other, and then you can have a break. Okay, hold on. Maybe I'll turn this around so they can see what I'm doing over here. Maybe I'll even put a camera on it or something.
You're making a greasy mess out of my tape.
Well, it's been a mess. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but we had it covered for a while, so it didn't happen.
Well,
I'll just sand it. I'll just sand it.
Okay. Good job.
Ooh.
What's wrong?
I came to an end.
Having trouble.
Wasn't going to turn any further, so it turned up here.
The other way. Good.
Talos says, just a 318. Hearing that down here is like you in the U.S. saying it's just a Hemi 6.
Oh, really?
So you don't have 318. Well, her 318 had bad heads. So, but they were closed chamber heads. These are really big chambers, but they got a little bigger valves. So she didn't really want to use these. And I go, she's going to just like throw the engine over a cliff somewhere. I go, no, just, so she decided to use these heads.
The other one has bogus, just worn out. See, this guide is pretty good. The other one, the guides are just clapped. And the seats are recessed. So it needs guides and seats. It's going to be $300. And it's like, okay. But that's just for junky old cast iron heads. Oh, and I have to put valves in it. So it needs valves and guides and seats. And if you're doing all that, you might as well put springs on it. It just rolls and rolls and rolls, and now you're into $1,000 for a 318 engine. It's like, nah. And if you're going to build a 318, start with a 318 Magnum. Don't build an LA 318 unless you have all the parts for an LA 318.
They're asking if that's a homemade valve compressor.
It is.
But yeah, spring compressor. Can you
show them that? That's just some pieces of junk, washer and pieces of scrap metal.
Kim made this thing out of some junk, like she said, and then you see what we use, a big old clamp, and you.
Here, I'll change that. That works. So they can see that works.
Here's your tool.
Here's the tool, and this one was made to take a 318 apart, so it's sized to the keeper right? It goes right on there. It actually goes on there snug. It didn't have to be snug, but you like to keep it small so it doesn't catch on the, an edge somewhere. I made another one and I was using it for my Subaru, but it didn't really work. And then we got this big C-clamp, and I took the thing out so we could put a socket on there, but we could have just used, the handle, but I put a socket on there so we can do it fast with just a regular socket charger. Go ahead, you can give it to me.
I am listening. I am building pages for new clients. I'll get it. I'm trying to do
I know.
two things at the same time.
I'll read it.
Well, but I wanted to make a comment on something. But okay,
He's building all VW pages for new clients.
You ready?
Yeah. People do love those VWs. Go ahead. Stop.
Well, if I had a lot of money, which I don't.
If I had money, tell you what to do. Go downtown. Go ahead, back. Buy a Mercury or two. Crazy about a Mercury. Keep going. Good.
I'd be buying about a third of the cars that Mexicans spec.
All of the Mexican cars.
We'd have I'd have to pave the lot out here for them.
Oh, man. Yeah, just what you want to do is...
So many of his cars, I'm like...
Just what you want to do is...
I want that one, I want that.
Buy a bunch of cars to sell.
No, I don't want to sell them.
You just want to own them.
Just want to own them. Let's go outside. I want to drive...
Rich people crap.
I want to drive that Mustang today.
Stop.
And it's not all Mustang.
If I had money, I'd get my car painted.
That's what I used to say. Yeah, if I win the lottery, like Lynn,
Can you take it off?
$500 million or something. I go, man, I could get my car painted.
Okay.
Because you always think the same as you did when you were poor. Oh,
God. Oscar says late LA heads are actually pretty good. Yeah, I have a set that's pretty good, except for the fact that they're cracked. If they weren't cracked, I would absolutely run them, and they would be excellent heads. Like the chambers are nice and small, the valves are good and everything like that. But if you have a Magnum, yeah, run it. Well, right now, you can find...
Okay, I'm going to take this away. I'm not going to stand here.
You can find an old Dodge Ram from the late 90s. There's a bunch of them around here. Wrecked up, used up. The transmissions go back. That's the thing that goes first. The motors, if you take any care of them, the motors hold up. So you can go find in a wrecking yard or whatever, you can find a reasonable Magnum engine, and you're going to have to regasket it, and you're going to have to buy an intake manifold because the keg that's on them for the truck is terrible for a car, but it's a torque intake. And then an LA style points or electronic distributor will go in to replace the you can do away with the electronics and throttle body, and you can put it in any Mopar. It's just a small block Mopar once you take off all the electronics. And they're better. The Magnums, they took all the good stuff that they figured out over the decades of running those LA engines, and they put them into the Magnums. You get the best of everything if you run a Magnum. And it's cheaper to put one together. Better parts are available. Off-the-shelf factory replacement parts are more available. The LAs are losing their market share. And if you have a bunch of LA parts, yeah, put one together. But before you start, you better look and make sure. We started building this, and I realized, I don't have a decent set of heads. And these heads, I had, I was ready to dump these off the side of the hill because I thought they were garbage because they're the big open 360 chambers. And then I find, well, they do have the bigger valves, and they're not cracked. They might be the best ones I got out of the bunch. Out of 3 sets, these are the best. So that's the story of what's going on with this.
Pete says to disassemble the valves and remove the springs. I use a socket and hit it with a hammer.
I've seen that. I haven't had any luck with that.
Stuff flies all over.
Well, no, the problem I have is they just bounce. The keepers don't come out because they're so old and seized in there.
Something like this, that on a running engine, that'd probably work.
Yeah. But
this is like something been in the dirt for 10 years.
They've been around for a while, and this is very simple, straightforward, easy to do. The thing with the socket, you really have to pound on it, and sometimes you get in trouble. Michelle says she's confused. She just does the paperwork and drive the cars. Yeah, this is engine building stuff. Most people never have to be bothered.
CD Burlock says,
I enjoy it. It's fun.
I subbed to a guy that does all BMW repair. Took out the whole dash to fix the AC expansion core, which I think, I guess most people call that the evaporator, and change the heater core while he's there. I've done a lot of that. I hate it. On mine, we left the evaporator there. We decided we didn't see anything that was bad. It's old, but I really didn't think we were going to get the AC working, but we did.
It's really common to have to really dig into the dash to get the heater cores and AC stuff. And we often joke, in order to get the heater core, in the factory, the heater core comes down the assembly line and they build the car around it.
I could just see there's a conveyor belt with heater cores on it and they start adding stuff to it. Down at the end, there's cars that come out.
Because it's insane. But that's just the way it is. And they probably do it on purpose.
Okay, you ready?
Yes. Good.
Yeah, like that one, you're not going to smack that.
It's because the car is designed to be assembled in a factory. That's their primary goal. And so things are built as assemblies and then bolted onto the car. So they build the heater box and all that stuff, and they bolt it on the car. And then they build the dashboard and they bolt that over that. And, that's the mindset of factory assembly, right? They don't care that much about what you got to do to work on it, service it later, because that's not what you're doing. They're building things.
Hippie Long says, so why are you messing with that head? Just get a roller engine. It's less than revalving your head. Well, this is clean up and put it together. It'll be okay.
I don't have the money for either, and I don't want to throw this block away, but I should. I should just throw this away, but I can't bring myself to just throw it away. That's what the problem really is. You're right. I should just throw this away and start from a Magnum, but I just can't bring myself to throw this away. And I can't sit anymore. I cannot just push it in a corner and let it sit. We're tripping over crap, and I've got a bunch of stuff I got to dump.
It's got engines all apart all over the place. Time to start putting them together. I
got cars all apart all over the place, too, and I got to decide what stays and what goes. And this one is on the chopping block. If these heads are not refurbishable to run on that block, then all of it's going. All of it. I had to decide. And I was like, well, I'll go look. I inspected the other... Release this sucker. Last night I soaked the other head in gasoline, scrubbed it all down. This one is filthy, but I don't want to run the gasoline anymore because we'll both be smogged out of this place from the stink. Last night, I inspected the other one really good, and it's okay. So I said, well, we'll inspect the other one tonight. And if it's okay, then maybe we will just put them back together and run them. How bad can burned exhaust valves burn before you can run them? Keep going. Good. Release.
How available are... I'm getting the gasket open.
Good. Okay, go back to the chat.
How available are 394 Oldsmobile engines based in America? See, I had a friend that ran 394 Oldsmobiles, and that was in 1970.
What vehicle would we find a 394 Oldsmobile?
I was a passenger in a 59 98 years ago, and I have always remembered what powered that thing. You know what? He had this is funny. This is in 1970. It was a guy I knew, and he had a road toad, a Plymouth Valiant. I think it was a 62 Valiant, like Don English has, and he had a 394 Olds in it, and it was fast. A street racer. He won money with it. I used to think he was crazy. And I noticed, you know what? I saw his name not too long ago in an obituary. He passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a guy that, well, you know what? He was older than me, and I was 16. I worked in a nursery helping with yards and stuff. And he was older than me. He was probably in his 30s. And so I knew him, and I knew he was racing the 394 Olds in the Road Toad. Of course, nobody called him a Road Toad then. It was a Valiant. Michelle says, Coke products and Dr. Pepper are my favorites. Yeah, you know what I'm drinking? This is like Dr. Pepper, except it's way cheaper. If you put Dr. Pepper next to this, you'll choose Dr. Pepper. But for $1 for a 2-liter, I'll buy this and I'll drink it, and I'm fine with it. So I've had to really cut back on my favorite brands. Dealer put heater core in a dash, rattled after. Wonder how many screws they had. You know what? That's the problem I had with mechanics doing heater cores in my radiator shop. Is they get done, they have a handful of hardware afterwards, and I just didn't want that kind of work, and that's why people can do an 8.5-hour job in 4 hours, because they do a shitty job. Then you got rattles and problems afterwards, and I wouldn't do that, and then people get upset with me because I take too long. Well, just broke folk work with what we got.
That's right, Tavo. We're working with what we have, because otherwise we have to spend our money.
Oh, I understand what you mean. Now I understand, not U.S. Us broke folk work with. Oh yeah, and when I had money, it was always like, when I had money, I didn't have time, and when I have time, I didn't have money. And when I had money, I could just buy a new Mazda. Go out and borrow the money and pay it off early and enjoy it. But now I don't have so much money because I'm not working.
No.
And
it's arts and crafts.
I do other stuff.
We're not winning any races with this 318. We're just having fun. We're just enjoying ourselves.
Louis says it looks like a piece of piston from 73 AMC Javelin back in 2025. I don't know what that is. If I have it. I never have any extra screws after pulling the dash.
Never, of course not.
Well, and that's the right way to do it.
I don't do things the right way.
Pete says 1 or 2 extra screws left over is okay. Yeah, I'm just. I used to have, I had mechanics that came in, they worked, they do some heater core jobs or something, and I was busy. Summertime, I get so busy in a radiator shop. I had radiators going, I had air conditioning going, and I was busy, and I'd hire a couple of guys that I knew that were like freelance mechanics. And man, they'd get done a heater core job or evaporator job and hand me a bunch of hardware afterwards. And I'd go, no, go use it. And I'd always get the same answer. I'm not doing that. It's fine. They walk out. They want to get paid. Well, I don't call them anymore. It's just, Kim, this sub called Rob's neighbor showed a whole 318 in a junkyard was selling for $300.
Okay, so that is true. 300 is low. In most area, we're close to Nashville. This is a major. There's no pick apart here. So to get a motor, you have to go to Nashville. So you're driving to Nashville, first of all. Well, that's not free to pick up an engine, right? At a junkyard, you don't get to hear it run first.
Yeah, you might have junk.
They guarantee it, right? But they guarantee it'll run. They don't guarantee how it will run. So it's take it or leave it, even though it's guaranteed. It's take it or leave it. So you have to put it in the vehicle and see how you like it, right? So you get what you get. Well, what's the point of that? You're buying a motor from 15 or 20 years ago. You're going to put in, first thing it's going to do is leak, right? And then, does it have a burned valve? Does it have a wiped cam lobe? Your only alternative is take the motor out and go get another unknown used one.
Or take it apart.
What's that? What's that? That's not what I want to do with my time and energy.
Michelle says, before it disappears, haha, Dr. Perky. Yeah, that's what they call it, Dr. Perky.
Right.
But it comes from a store up the road here called Food Lion. So they also have a Mountain Dew clone that they call Mountain Lion. which I also buy that. So
Mountain
sometimes
Lion.
I have Dr. Perky, sometimes I have Mountain Lion.
Good stuff.
It's
and
fine.
they have diets, so he likes.
And they have diet, which is what I have to do.
With no sugar, and that's what he has to do. Yeah. So that's essentially though what we have is we have the best parts of 3 junkyard motors, and we're deciding if we can actually build one good one from the best parts of 3, and we're still going to have to buy some replacement parts to get it back. I mean, I had to buy a gasket kit. The timing cover of the old one was all rotted, corroded, and it wasn't going to seal water, so I had to buy a replacement of that. I had to buy new, the ring that seals to the harmonic dampener. I had to buy a new one of those. Dr. Go generously donated a replacement double roller timing kit. We bought 30 over rings because the block is already bored 30 over, and the pistons are terrible. Oh, the pistons out of this engine, they're not damaged in any way, but the problem is the engine is a reman, and these are the cheapest 30 over pistons you can buy. The cheapest. They are like so heavy, so they're just bulky, heavy, cheap aftermarket reman 30 over pistons, right? The pin height on them, the piston pin height on them is a 1/10 of an inch too low. So the pistons don't come up the deck height. So the compression is just anemic. It's terrible, the compression ratio. That's why I was trying to use the closed chamber heads to try and bump up compression. These are not just open chamber heads, but open chamber for the next bigger size bore because they're 360 cylinder heads. So compression on this engine is going to be terrible. Terrible. That means I can do super low quality gasoline.
Or put a turbo on it.
Or put a turbo on it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm like way behind in the chat. I saw something back there I wanted to respond to. Oh, Firefly says something about the early Ford Taurus heater cores. Oh, it was the mid-90s. I think it was the second generation of the Taurus and Sable. I had several wagons come in that I did heaters on. And what I did was the first thing I do is I take this under the seat and put the back seat down and put the seat back in the back. Just flip it up 90 degrees. Then I had a floor to work on, drop the column down, and then I'd start undoing everything. And the wiring harnesses were so tight I couldn't pull the dash back at all. So I put some cargo straps through the roof rack and hook them onto the dash and just start. So I didn't want to bend the wiring harness too far, but I'd pull that dash back and hold a little bit. Then I'd get my hands up in there. But what a pain in the ass, Firefly says California looked to me like a tinderbox. Just waiting to catch on fire. The problem with California, that's one of those annoying regional kind of things. But what's really annoying about California is just the rules and regulations. And if you're in business, it's like they have
they're trying to harm you.
Times a week, there's some government guy.
How dare you be productive?
Walking in with a clipboard, and you don't allow you to be productive. You just want to throw them all out because you can't get anything done, and then they want you to stop. I just gave up. I left. I was in the airplane business and I left, and man, it was like a tremendous relief. I was allowed to work again. You were like, here our pick part has 90-day warranty, so you get enough time to return it. Yeah, but then you got to do 2 engine installs.
Yeah. How much is this?
Just what you want to do.
Work?
Just what you want to do.
And I mean, if you're smart, right, you're replacing valve cover gaskets, oil pan gaskets, filters, oil, plugs, and you're not getting those things back. If it runs terrible, so now you're doing all that and putting all that into it, taking the time to run it, and then
Sometimes
if it's bad, you got to go and exchange it. Like you're
I
not coming out ahead.
I have bought used engines that worked out okay,
Yeah.
and I've been lucky. And there's other times I bought used engines where they didn't work out okay, and then I had a decision to make: do I want to take it back and get another possible bad engine, or do I want to take it apart and fix it? And usually, what goes wrong is that you got leaks. Okay, you're gonna have that with any old engine. So it was
any old.
I did it sometimes.
Any old 318. The 5.2 engine was phased out in 2001. So you're talking a 24, 25-year-old engine. Even if it was low mileage, which low mileage on a truck like that was 150,000 miles. That's about when the transmissions start to go. You know what I mean? You're not getting a used engine with less mileage than that from the yard. 150,000 miles, 24 years old, it needs taken apart and all the gaskets put in it. The bearings might be okay. If it was maintained properly, it might not be filthy, but it probably all needs hot tank. Like, you're getting a core. All you're getting is a core.
Stop for a second. Man, I missed like Dr. Go. Man, I'm sorry, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Go.
I'm missing everybody because we're yammering away about all kinds of stuff.
I'm working on the 318 project again. I don't know why.
Somebody up here, I think it was Firefly, said there, he's wondered about brazing on a crack in a head. I've thought about that.
That's a major undertaking.
And then
they do that on race heads.
Let's see. Josh Holmes says bad environmental laws make California into a tinderbox. Yeah, they don't let you take the undergrowth away anymore. So
look how filthy these valves are. That's an intake valve. I could see an exhaust valve with buildup like that, but intake valve? Yeah, I mean, that's filthy. These valves come way down and then over. You see the amount of crud.
Okay.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
That's a piece of crap.
Look at this piece of carbon. This valve-shaped carbon. The weight, and then every time one of these comes loose and then gets caught as the valve's trying to go up and down and this carbon's all jammed in it, can you imagine how bad your engine be running?
Pete's Custom Car Shop says, I weld heads with an arc welder and nickel rod, heat the head with a torch before welding. I have never welded a head.
Do they warp?
I've done a lot of cast iron and like on exhaust manifold stuff. Won't do it for customer. Will not do it for customer, but I'll do it for myself or for Kim.
Why? Because then it fails.
Because then it fails and comes back. So
look at that. That's terrible.
So what I do is I take a torch and I heat like an exhaust manifold.
This is kind of what it's supposed to look like. Look at the difference. I'll put it over Buff Duck Ample because you can see better. Cruddy. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Wouldn't do it for a customer.
So I heat.
We don't have customers, but back in the day. Oh, here's another one. Bad.
I heat with a torch until it's really hot. I flow the bronze in there, and then I let it slowly cool. If it's wintertime, it's really good because we have the wood stove over here, and then the wood stove will be really hot, and I'll set it on top of the wood stove and let it cool. And I've had pretty good luck with that, but I've never done it on a block or a head yet. But I've never put brazing cast iron to the test. Wait.
We'll scroll back up.
I'm trying to keep up.
All right,
I'm not even close to keeping up with the chat.
He's used to carrying chat by himself, so with me talking, it's making
I can't do anything yet.
Yeah,
I've never put brazing cast iron now and then. I swim upstream, test the water. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm missing a lot of Gosh, California. It's always been a firebox. Humans just moved into the box. Well, you know what? That's not entirely true because I remember, well, it was, but I mean, they used to allow you to clear all the underbrush and take the wood and all that, and they don't do that anymore. So now it's just huge fuel there to just keep the fires going. It's terrible. I remember when you used to be able to go out there and take all the fallen wood and everything. In fact, they encourage you to do that. Now it's like environmentalists don't want you to do that. Not allowed to do that. It's passed the Senate, but haven't heard about the Assembly. Okay, this is Leno's Law. Yeah, they're trying that a second time. They say a brazed joint has more tensile strength than a wood. It could. You know, I have had really good luck with bronze on cast iron, and I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I've had pretty good luck with it. And on this manifold, this current one that Kim made for the Slat 6, that thing's all bronze.
I feel really good about that bronze on there.
Yeah, that's.
I have no doubt. I have full faith in that.
We heated that cast iron up really hot, and then we ran the bronze. Of course, we cleaned it, and then we ran the bronze on it, and then we cooled it slowly. So I don't know. I think it'll be okay.
Normalized it the whole time. We were really careful about making the heat nice and even as we flowed that brass out. We kept the whole thing nice and hot. Then we slowed it up, normalized it, and dropped the temperature nice and even. That was fantastic. That was textbook, is what that was.
Taos says when I worked
masterclass.
When I worked at the wrecker, we never sold an engine as a runner without the customer hearing it run first. So the used Ford 200. $250. A week later, customer's mechanic sent us $2,800 bill for rebuilding it. New rings, bearings, crank. I said, gas. See, to me, that's bullshit. You know, if it's bad, they shouldn't rebuild it and send you a bill.
No, they can't do that.
They should bring it back. They should bring it back or take the responsibility themselves. You know, and that's exactly why I don't work on customers' cars here, because I don't want somebody coming back pissed off, and they're gonna come back pissed off.
Oh yeah, if they come back, they're gonna be mad.
So much of this.
They'll come back and complain. You'll work on the front of the car. They'll complain about something on the back of the car. Once you touch it, it's your responsibility now.
Some old car full of crispy critter hoses and everything.
Yeah, we don't work on people.
You touch it, and now every leak is.
I don't like working on anybody's cars. We're not insured for that. We're not. You know, you do something for charity for somebody, and they'll be back later to complain that you tried to cheat them. You can't do nothing for nobody anymore. The world is very difficult in that way.
Relaxes. Well, Glidden used a kiln to heat his iron heads.
That would be what you want to do. You would want to heat the entire head evenly and keep it hot while you're working. I mean, you have to be wearing a fire suit, weld it in real good. That would be the way to do it without making it crack. But you could not prevent it from warping. So when you're done, it's got to go to the machine shop, and all the tolerances got to get checked.
Okay. Hippie one
says, a big thing.
I would like us to make a Glidden tribute with this Fairmont to a 351. Yeah, it's just like I need the bank of Buff Del Campo and go in there, and I don't have to deposit anything. I just have withdrawals.
Look at this piece
There's
of cardboard.
No limit. You got a piece of cardboard. Oh my God! You got to.
I got to get the big camera.
Get the camera and show that.
I
can't believe that thing ran. Basically.
Well, yeah, that's right. It ran up.
It was running with that in there because that's how it got made.
It ran until it didn't.
I forgot. I need to practice TIG brazing. I have never done that, but I kind of wanted to. But my hand's too shaky now, and my eyes aren't good enough to TIG. Do this stuff while you're young, man. 10 years ago, I could TIG up a storm. I was steady and everything. I was 62 then. I was able to do that up into, I don't know, late 60s. And then it just, things start to go downhill.
Yeah.
And there's all this little stuff starts to happen. You just can't do it the way, 351 Cleveland would be fun. But you know what I'd really like to do, but of course it'd take a bunch of money, is do it like Dallas Brown did, build a cleaver where you have a Windsor block and put good Cleveland heads on it. Of course, you got to run
But where are you gonna get those
you
parts?
gotta run the that stuff's all available, but it just takes like bunches of money, you know.
Money.
And
we can do it. We can build all kinds of stuff.
You know, like that car turns into low sixes. You know, I could do that, but just take everybody in here. Leave a couple of thousand super chat. Google will love you.
Okay, we're gonna need you to do the. You guys slow down the chat for a minute? We're gonna do a.
No, don't slow the chat.
Del Campo. No.
What is this? Biofly. I tell people at the shop, I don't do restorations for anyone here. I do it for myself and no one else. That's right. And I've thought about selling cars afterwards. At least then they know what they're getting. But somebody's still going to be pissed. Because people expect absolute 100% perfection for the next 75 years on a restored car. And you know what they're going to get? They're going to get something that breaks. And that's just the way machinery is. And they're going to be pissed.
Even new cars have problems.
New cars have nothing but problems.
All right. Look at me and say Buff Del Campo.
Buff Del Campo here.
Kim's reconditioning some heads.
You want me to do it twice?
This is scripted. Yes, start again so I can just cut instead
She's scripting this. And say this. I'll say this. Then she's going to clip it all together. Just make it so I say what she wants. Buff Del Campo here. Kim's rebuilding this head. And you got to see what she found in here. This was actually running like this. Look in here and look at that. That was running like that because that's the only way it could have gotten like that. So now you got to show everybody in the chat. And I just saw, I'm glancing at the chat while I'm trying to do this and that. I just saw Steve Edwards pop in, Mr. CB Radio.
And these valves are all gummed up.
Look at that mess on the valves. So you're going to, my guess is, this is just going to be a cleanup job and probably just lap the valves in and reassemble it.
We're going to hope. I don't think this comes out.
I don't think it's a mess. I think it's just gummed up mess. But you never know. Magnaflux it.
These are the things you find as a rebuild, remanufacturing.
Okay, Hippie Long's got it now. He says, Buff and Kim, you do understand most of us poor as well. We throw ideas out for fantasy. You know what I do for fantasy? I go in and I look at what do you call it? Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I dream about all the cars I want, and I go in Mexican Specs site and I look at all that stuff, and I just think about all the cool shit I could do. And then I come up here and work with the cool shit we got, you know.
Yeah,
you understand.
Then we come up here and work on our
sometimes I feel like, man, everybody wants me to spend like $10,000-$15,000 on some project, and I got like $10 in my account, you know. Although this month, I think we've had over $200 in super chats so far.
You guys have been generous this month.
Freaking great.
Here, let me move.
You don't have enough cord to do that.
I got to get another webcam that has a cord.
You're on a short leash there. Okay, I'll hold it so it doesn't tip over.
There we go. Now you
got the camera again. Man, we're trying to have an accident. Look at that junk sitting in there. Look at what was made in there. When this engine was running, it made that. Oh.
I mean, I knocked the valve out and that stayed. I mean, it's just carbon, but like it's one of these pieces of buildup. Can you imagine running your engine with that laying on top of the intake valve? You'd be like, why is my car running so bad? This engine.
Or it started running bad over such a long period of time. They don't even realize it. Until you fix it. You have really messed up where that camera goes, because now I'm looking at the back of the
Someone abandoned this engine, whatever vehicle it was in, whatever engine it was on top of. They were like, this is junk.
Okay, now we're kind of back where we were. Okay.
junk.
Everything was fun.
Well, you wanted to show them. I wanted to show them.
We got it back where it is, I think. Take a look at these heads. Go ahead. Take a good look. Long look. You see? They just didn't care. Because most people don't even know what a head is, you know. Engine head, and, you know, and they I can just see the wheels turning, you know, and they picture like.
Can't you just pour some? What's the stuff?
There's
the stuff they pour in there.
I saw on an ad on YouTube. There's this stuff you can pour in the engine. It fixes all that.
Yeah, you just pour that stuff in the gas tank, and it just takes this stuff right off. I'm sure that's not going to end badly. Fixes
cracks, unmelts pistons.
Hey, but we're finding the little seams of gold in the mountain of crap. We're searching for the needles in the haystack.
Hollow. The ones that annoy me, you have a car that's worth $12,000 in good condition, but needs some work, maybe $2,000 worth. So advertise it for $9,000. Then they say, oh, but it needs this, but it needs the other. Then want you to knock off $3,000 for what you already reduced the asking price for.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Ghost says, Biofly, I liked your idea and just saw an illustration about the rotary valve concept. I know there are Rotax rotary valve engines. Yep, the one I worked on a lot, Rotax 582 aircraft engine, and the 503 did not have a rotary valve. I really like the 503 because it's so simple, and they just run forever. But I'd run them at 100-to-1 oil and never had problems. And you're supposed to run at 51. But the rotary valve one's much more complex. If you want, well, if you use alcohol for fuel, no carbon issues. Valve train stays clean would help in tight valve clearance. Yeah, alcohol works great, but you gotta, man, where's that? I had a piece of paper, and I showed Kim the other day.
You showed me something?
Yeah, where's the piece? The chat's going. I'm going to lose everything, but I want to do this.
I'm sorry.
Somewhere in here, I had some paper. Paper. This is wrinkled paper, but I think I can do it. There's so much stuff on the desk.
Here. He's feeling flustered, guys.
I am feeling flustered because I'm trying to. What happened? There were pens here. Now
you got a pee or something?
The pens just disappeared.
Yeah.
They were here. Might work.
You need some paper.
Now here comes a commercial. Shut the commercial off because that's going to annoy me even more.
I don't know.
And I shut the commercial off, they run a minute.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot. This pen doesn't write. This is garbage.
Try this.
That's garbage.
It's not garbage. I got some carbon on it. It'll soften up. Come around. Leave it.
This is a little tiny pen. They're not going to be able to see this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe do something else.
Maybe just forget what I'm doing and do something else. But I've always wanted to show this. There's got to be another pen here. Good luck. What is this thing? What is this thing? Is this a pen or is this something else? This is something else. Why does nothing work?
Everything we own is junk.
Everything we own is junk. God, the junkyard. Maybe we can find a pen that works.
Nope.
And if it doesn't work, we can take it back. I'm going to try to wipe some of the grease off.
All you have to do is drive from Nashville, remove the pen yourself, haul it home.
Well, this is greased up to the point where it just doesn't work even when I wipe it
Change
off.
all the fluids and gaskets, put a new ball in. You don't warrant the ball.
Maybe I just found another pen. Maybe this will work. You're flinging carbon all over.
Actually, that's actually grease, not carbon.
So this one writes, I'm going to show everybody a formula. And if you understand formulas, you'll get it. If you don't understand formulas, you'll forget it.
Is it a whimsical joke or a real formula?
No. Does everybody know how to cross multiply?
Well, that's geometry or algebra or something. I only took more math than that. Forget what math I took. All of the math. Took all the.
I'm sorry this is taking me so long to write this.
I took all that engineering classes. I took so much math. They really thought I was going to use it someday. I feel badly. I wasted all my time and energy learning stuff that I'm never going to use now. Because I'm too old to be useful. AI does all that stuff now. Don't need any knowledge or ability because AI.
Yeah, why do I do this? Just ask AI.
Just ask AI. You have AI bring it up. Just have AI rebuild that motor for you. You don't need a car. Just buy a new one.
Okay. You don't even know how to cross multiply. This is what you do if you have a carburetor and you want to run alcohol instead of gasoline. That is the formula that'll get you right in the ballpark. So you'd have the jet size, and imagine that's diameter. So that's a huge difference in the amount of fuel you're going to use. And alcohol works really well, but you're going to use a lot of it to get the same amount of power out of the same BTUs. So look at it, remember it, write it down, something. But anyway, if you understand that, somebody said here, don't fold that head gasket. Yeah, we've had 2 of those.
But they're cheaper to mail if you fold them. Engines are cheaper to ship if you smash them into a cube too. That's how we should ship Mexican cars. We'll take them to the junkyard, have them smash them into a tiny cube.
Chris is here. I sat next to little Susie in calculus. Just type in Deltic animation in Google. Deltic animation in Google. That's how you get that. Some things I think what am I seeing here? I think AI is going to be a good tool for some things. What I'm really upset with AI about is the people that are using it to copy other people's videos, word for word, copy somebody's video, throw a few different pictures in it, make the thumbnail a little bit different, and put it up and call it their video. And it's somebody else's hard work.
Somebody else's art style, somebody
else's everything, and it's just
stolen.
If you did that in a library, went in there and took a book and ran copies of it and changed the cover a little bit, put on there by Buff Del Campo, and you go out and now it's Buff Del Campo's book, and sold thousands of copies of it. Well, that's what they're doing on YouTube, and YouTube is cheering them on. Yeah, AI, yeah, and stealing people's
livelihoods,
stealing their intellectual property, and cheering them on. And the person that did all the work's going like, huh? What just happened? 4 or 5 channels are getting all the views, and I'm sitting here and I did all the work. And to me, that is criminal. And AI is being used for that. And cheered on. Yeah, let's do it. And I have a problem with that. You know?
I just saw a thing that said Google is going to now prioritize. You'll notice if you do a Google search, the first result is the AI formulated answer. They don't give you search results. You don't get links to web pages anymore. You get the AI result, which is a summary of answers, which is probably stolen from Wikipedia and news articles and other like forums and stuff, web forums and stuff like that. But they don't give you those forums. Sometimes they'll put citations to those things. They don't link you. So there's no more traffic going to the sources. So the sources are going to wither and die because AI is starving them of the traffic that they need.
That's another problem with AI. AI learns. And if it's bad information, it learns bad information.
That's right.
And so
And there's no one to
I know
update
people.
AI.
I know people that use AI.
AI becomes the authority.
And they're very selective about what they're doing, and it's a really good tool for them. But then on YouTube, it's just thievery, and I hate that. I mean, it's like any tools or anything in life. There's some rules you need to pay attention to. Like you're not allowed to go out in a car and go down the freeway the wrong way as fast as you want and throw knives out the window. You know, that's kind of how AI is right now. No rules, none. And that sucks, man. So
if somebody gets hurt, AI isn't accountable.
Yeah, it's AI.
Somebody loses money, goes bankrupt, none of it. AI.
And if any of you watch Steve Leto, the lawyer guy that puts out a couple of videos a day, I bet you there isn't a week goes by where some attorney hasn't filed their whole case using AI and not read it, and they got
but you know what?
citations from other court cases that never existed. They're just something AI made up, and they get caught, and they get in a lot of trouble. Huh? I'm glad to see them getting in trouble. Then there were police departments using AI to the cops have cameras and they have microphones, and then they have AI write the reports, which are some of them are hallucinated. They don't get it right, and now somebody gets prosecuted for a crime because AI wrote something that was not right. Steve Leto was doing another one that was AI, and he was the police officer signed the report that he wrote it or had looked it over and made sure it was right. And in the middle of the report, it says, in the middle of this crime he's writing about, it says, and then my partner turned into a frog. Right in the police report.
Yeah, because AI thought it was writing a story.
So I don't know what.
No one even.
Who knows where it got that from? Something it heard in the recording. It thought that's what it should say. So then Steve Leto laughs. He goes, "I love to see stuff like that in court when I'm the defense attorney." Because then I'd read this and I'd say to the police officer, "Did you write this report? Yes. Did you read it? Yes. Did you sign this? Is this your signature? Yes. Well, it says here your partner turned into a frog. So what happened next?"
How's he doing?
He goes, "What happened next?"
Did you get a replacement?
Yeah. And then, your defense is, the prosecution's like, huh? That, I guess, just went out the window. What's the jury going to say then? So I don't know. There's some things with AI that there needs to be some rules,
Yeah, the next rule is going to be you can't hate speech against AI. Everybody's
But then it's such a good tool in some ways,
Right. For some things it is.
World of Woodchip says the rant isn't bad, but I think it would be land better if you were in a rocking chair. So what you're saying is because I'm old, I don't like it. Well, no, I think it needs some rules. Like I said, like any new technology, you need some rules. You can't get in your car and go down the wrong way down a highway on the wrong side of the road going 150 miles an hour and throw knives out the window. You could, but that's probably illegal, So, AI is the same way. There needs to be. I mean, right now with AI, you can copy somebody's YouTube video and call it yours, and now it's yours, and now you get all the views. That sucks, man, because the guy that really did the work didn't get anything, or gets like this much. I don't know. Firefly, I didn't code my speedometer myself at all. It was done for me. Yeah, it's the AI. So that could be somebody else's work, or it could be a lot of other people's work, or it could be, it's learned somehow.
See, but
it might be learned from one person's work, in which case you stole it, but you don't know that.
See, computer code is not the same thing.
Well, it is. It's somebody's intellectual property.
But
somebody sits there and spends months writing up a program.
But
that's their work,
The specifics of how the language works is a standard that's written. It's not illegal to use a standard. It's different than art.
Teflon, that just angers the shit out of me. You guys think I'm stupid old man? Yeah, that was funny, Chip, because I should be in a rocking chair because I'm a stupid old man that hates AI. No, I think there should be some fucking rules. Like everything else in this world, there should be rules. You don't just steal people's shit and call it yours. That's fucking criminal. End of story.
Yeah.
God dang. World of Wood Chip, we have to shut down the internet. We've clearly... You fucking asshole! You're calling me an old motherfucker because I'm pissed off because there's no rules. You know what? Fuck you! You're gone! You're gonna be an asshole? You're gone.
Who'd you ban?
Yeah, I know.
Who'd you ban?
World of Wood Chip.
World of Wood Chip, he's nice.
No, he's fucking with me. That was his fellow boomer agrees with Buck. Yeah, if you use AI to be a thief, no, you're being a thief. And then you just blame it on AI. Oh, it was AI. AI was the thief. I'm okay. I'm not a thief. AI was a thief.
Somebody has to be responsible at some point. There's got to be accountability.
Yeah, and what AI does right now is like there's no accountability. You just,
what are you going to do? Shut the computer off?
AI did it.
I didn't even know.
AI did it. Luis says, please calm down. Well, you hit a soft spot.
You're scaring people.
You hit a soft spot.
I'm really mad.
AI is going to show that all college degrees were plagiarized. Well, you know what? Everything I did, I had to work hard for it, and then somebody comes along and just steals it, and now it's theirs. It's bullshit.
What happens is, why do anything? If AI can just take it, claim it as its own, and then, there's copyright laws.
Well, somehow World of Wood Chip's back. I guess he's got a second channel or something. But I'm sorry, man. You just hit a real soft spot there. Told me where I used the word old. No, you said I should be in my boomer chair. Well,
they joke about the boomer chair.
You know why I'm a boomer? You know why I'm a boomer? I'm a boomer because I was born when a bunch of other kids were born. I was a baby boomer.
They joke about the boomer chair on Tony's, and it's all
in good humor. And when I was young...
They're in good humor, though. They're not being hateful. It's just a joke. It's not meant to be hurtful.
I don't know.
Breathe. Just breathe. You're gonna
breathe. Yeah, I know. I'm going to have a freaking heart attack here.
I don't want you to have a stroke over somebody making comments.
Dean Stevenson's here. AI is kind of awesome. It is.
It can do
with no rules, things find their own level.
It'll be awesome when AI spends 24 hours a day stealing your bank account.
To me,
and stealing your identity and your credit.
Oh, and they're there with that too.
Running up your debt and then hiding its tracks. And now you are screwed for the rest of your... That'll be wonderful when there's no boundaries on that stuff. Because let me tell you, one of those supercomputers, when it wants to crack the bank, it can do it. Oh. And then the person who is running the AI is just like, we didn't even know it was going to steal all the world's money.
It's just...
And they're going to pretend like that, and then they're going to try not to go to prison.
Like I say, like cars, wonderful invention, but like I said, you can't drive down the wrong side of the road throwing knives out the window.
At first you could.
You could at first, but, they make some guidelines how you're supposed to...
They were like, that might not be the best thing to allow.
How you're supposed to use this car.
Maybe we shouldn't let them train AI on everybody else's stuff.
To me, AI is fine, but if a person's going to use AI to be a thief, it's not AI's fault. It's the person's fault that used AI to be a thief. The person's got to be responsible.
And they want unrestricted so they can, experiment. And
YouTube is cheering people on that are using AI.
Prioritizing AI channels, not just allowing it. Prioritizing. Look how many views these AI channels have. It's crazy. YouTube is literally, they're cheering them on. They want people who can make lots of content really fast and really cheap because they're paying garbage. And they're not looking at the damage it does to, they don't care about the damage. They only want to make money. Right? We're here as guests. That's one thing we need to be a little more careful of is, YouTube doesn't have to let us be on this platform. They don't have to broadcast our channel. They don't have to. They could just say, screw you, we are just going to use all AI. And then where would we be?
Well, who's the guy in Canada? Who's the guy in Canada? I watch him a little bit. You watch him a lot. He's quite a body man that hammers stuff. He'll take a bent up old fender from
Carter's Auto Restyling.
From like a 1934 Ford or something.
Vile Kyle.
That it's completely ruined. What's his name?
Kyle of Carter's Auto Restyling.
Carter's Auto Restyling. Okay, this guy can take a bent up fender, hammers and dollies, and
I can't even imagine.
Man, he can make that thing look so good. And then, so he's got the YouTube channel, and he's so good at what he does. And then there's AI channel that just takes everything he does and word for word, puts up what he does and some nonsense pictures and it gets more views than he gets. What kind of bullshit is that? And he's upset about it. Well, of course he is. He spent 5 years building this channel, or 7 years.
And if you have a complaint,
7 years building this channel.
If you have a complaint and you try and talk to YouTube, you talk to YouTube's AI.
You talk to YouTube's AI, and they just they give you the standard AI.
Then you get marked as a problem, and they want to get rid of you.
You're a problem.
How dare you?
So the AI channel now steals from somebody else because the guy that it's stealing from is no longer making content, so they steal from somebody else.
And once they drive all the creators off, we'll have to go somewhere else. They'll kill their own platform. And there's other reasons why that's not even a good solution.
Kevin Smith's here. I didn't even see you come in.
Tough guy.
I'm so upset I didn't miss
You really
Kevin
did get super worried.
I know. I get. It's just you hit a soft spot. I watch YouTube, not just allowing people to steal, but promoting the theft. They promote theft.
Well, they promote the videos that promote the theft. That just
sets me off. How would you like it if somebody comes into your house and steals things you really want, and you call the police, and the police go, "Yeah,
well,
let's go get some more thieves to come into your house."
Not only do you get robbed, right? But then they make a video
that shows you how to
rob people better. And YouTube is like, show everybody that.
Yeah, have your AI talk to YouTube's AI. Well, see, and that's kind of a joke that I used to say is like back when answering machines first came around. Yeah, have your answering machine call my answering machine. Except that's kind of a joke because that's what would happen. And now, of course, it's not answering machines; it's voicemail. But it's I've seen that kind of shit go on. But that's kind of funny because that doesn't really hurt anybody. It's just slightly annoying. But having a thing that steals from you, and they make videos that show you how to do this, and then cheer it on, this is the people we work for. Firefly says that's how AI warfare works. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Lots of precious air being wasted over nothing you can control. When AI overextends, it will be unplugged. With no power, no AI. Yeah, I don't know. It's just but AI has it's got some really useful stuff, but just using it
responsibly. The growing pains are rough.
It's not even controlling AI. It's controlling people who are using it. You know, oh, it's okay to rob banks now because it's not us, it's AI. Mm-hmm. Somehow we got the money, but no, AI.
Well, we didn't get the money. The money was converted into Bitcoin and moved to an offshore account that we have no control over.
So.
And we didn't tell our AI to do that. We don't know what happened. And it erased its tracks, so we can't even tell you who did it. We don't know nothing.
Well, that's what...
AI mimicking micro almost ruined it. Right. Steal your likeness.
Happened with policing in other countries. What is this? Well, that's what dies. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Dean. It looks like some words in there.
I gotta suck this stuff up. It's gonna take me a minute. Read, but don't talk. Ah, shit. I got no gas in it.
So now they're upset with me because they're all asking about car projects.
You yelled a lot. They're changing the subject, so you don't.
Yeah, they're changing the subject.
Game done for now.
Yeah, of course, Pete says, yeah, Chinese have been stealing intellectual property forever, making their own, so yeah.
Yep.
Well, and back in the 60s, the Japanese did it. I remember seeing it all the time.
Sorry, I'm trying to...
All the Japanese cars and stuff were all copies of everybody else's stuff. And now they're doing their thing, and their stuff's getting stolen.
Yeah, now the Chinese are stealing their stuff.
Yeah, I apply for patents. China beats you every time. Just, I don't know. I see people work really hard at YouTube, and then somebody just steals their stuff and makes it theirs, and that's okay. And the platform, you know, YouTube could try to control that a little bit, but they're not. They're
doing a bad job so far.
They're encouraging it. Mexican specs back.
Well, they've invested a lot of money in the development of the tools, and they want people to use them. The problem is they don't have very good discrimination against the people who are using them in a proper way.
Well,
the process is not very well.
It could be a very good tool for some things, but they're encouraging people to use it to be a thief. Mm-hmm. And that's just wrong. Hey,
I don't know if that's what they're encouraging, but they're not doing a very good job.
They are. Whether they think they are, they are. Yeah. Both our radios are charged up.
Okay, cool.
Pete's custom car. I remember syntax there.
Okay.
Wi-Fi, you can't AI a live stream. Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons we're doing live streams. Live streams are kind of fun.
You can.
Gene Stevenson says, it's okay. Theft is the highest form of flattery. You're right. But
it doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't pay the bills, does it? It's like, what happened to my money?
They have AI Jesus streams. And people watch, but it's not entertaining. You don't go back. You watch once because it's funny. But yeah, no, it's not very useful.
Well, I watched what happened to the what's his name, custom car shop that you watch. We were just talking about it.
Carter's Automotive Restyling.
Carter's Automotive
He's
Restyling.
friends with Scott from
Cold
War Motors.
I mean, yeah,
if you guys have not checked out his channel, you really should.
That come right out of his pocket, you know.
Yeah, they screwed him over. You could tell his whole posture changed. They really screwed him out of his livelihood. He thought he was going to make videos and do well.
Mexican Spec says, should I use AI to put a sombrero on each car in my thumbnail? See, that's a proper use of AI.
Yeah, you're not hurting someone or stealing somebody else's
It's a new tool for some creativity. And I have no problem with that, you know. This Russian woman that I watch sometimes, I watch her boyfriend more. They're in the Philippines. Or not in the Philippines. They're in Thailand, and he speaks English very well. He does not speak any English, but her YouTube channel, it's an English audience. So she uses AI. She writes all her own copy, or she probably just speaks off the top of her head, but it comes out in English, and it makes her mouth look like she's speaking English. That is really good use of AI. I watched something else today too. What was it? It was somebody did something that was AI that was slick as shit, and I went, that's really good. I can't remember what it is right now.
You know where a lot of that technology comes from? The translation with the mouth thing comes from?
I don't know.
It's because there's so much money being transacted in the porn industry the human likeliness, they know they can make money off that.
Oh, so they're doing it. It's developed for the porn industry,
and now they're finding practical mainstream applications.
They're finding mainstream applications.
But there's a lot of porn that is AI now.
Man, I just saw something.
They don't even need good-looking actors or anything like that.
I saw something today.
The people don't look anything like what the people actually look like. They film the people and then they change how they look.
I mean, to me, if you're using
they add or remove tattoos, they change their face, they change their eyes. The whole thing. It's like a cartoon.
If you're using AI for something to make yourself more creative, fine. But if you're using just to blatantly steal somebody else's creativity,
it's the theft.
That's a theft.
It's the theft.
Firefly says, "Okay, time for bed." We'll have a tough time turning my mind off. Sorry, man. Yeah, it's just sad.
They need to not allow it. I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but they really need to take a better look at their policy. They need to take a better look at the content. It's not like there's people who are getting hundreds of views or thousands of views or even tens of thousands. There's people who are getting literally millions of views. So they're making money off of stolen scripts, the content is generated off of other people's stuff. And it's just soulless, first of all, but it's not authentic. Now they are removing some channels because they're inauthentic, but if you're going to give somebody millions of views, you better back check their sources.
Kevin Smith knows the formula. He says my porn name would be Duke Massillon. That's great. That's a good one. Pete says I fix cars in my sleep. You know what's wrong with that? I do the same thing. And fix airplanes in my sleep. But then I wake up and I got to do the work all over again because I did it in my sleep. I did it. It was a dream. Then Dean said something that Hippie Long says is almost funny. But Dean already erased it.
Now they're afraid to say funny
Dean
stuff.
Already erased it.
Mad.
That's all right. I get mad sometimes.
I try to defend World of Warcraft.
Also, the AI-generated videos. Person at a desk talking to the camera. Then you suddenly realize they repeatedly use the same hand gestures regularly. Yeah, don't blink in 5 minutes and look too perfect. Yep. Yeah, I see that stuff. Once I figure out what it is, I just click out of it.
It takes him a while to figure it out.
Well, sometimes I figure it out right away. Sometimes
I can hear that voice from the other room. I'm like, it's AI.
But right now, I'm getting to the point where I pick it out right away. Man, I know it was something on YouTube that was AI, and don't remember what it was. I know I've seen things like a aircraft crash recreation, and it may have been that, and it was really good because that's what it was. It was
NTS.
It was what had broken. It was the NTSB did it, and it was what had broken in that engine that came off that MD-11, and they had it. They had an animation of it. That's fine with me. I mean, they figured out what it was, and they showed how it cracked and how it broke and where it came apart, and that's, to me, that's
yeah. But if somebody just took that video and just copied it word for word, frame for frame, with a different voice, they shouldn't be allowed to monetize that.
So, but I think that's really good technology to be able to do that.
And if they weren't allowed to steal and monetize somebody else's work, there'd be no reason for them to bother, and they would go on and do something else.
What is that? Michelle says, I sleep with Pete every night, and trust me, he wakes up and I'm surprised he remembers to get dressed before going to the shop to start. Because he thinks he's already there.
He was working on them all night. You know, the good thing about that is you know what to do.
And then Kevin took it another way. He goes, garage with no britches. Oh. Yeah.
Saves laundry.
I guess you really don't need rules for AI. You need to apply the rules.
There needs to be accountability.
Yeah, you can't say, no, I didn't rob the bank. AI did it.
And then the other.
And then what are you going to do? Put AI in jail?
The big publishers have to be able to be right. So if you don't like something that YouTube does, you have no recourse. What are you going to do? You would have to file a class action lawsuit, and YouTube has more money than God. You're never going to get anywhere.
Kim beating the head off that thing.
That's right.
Well, you know who's getting in a lot of trouble with AI are attorneys, because they're having AI write a brief, and that's okay, but then they got to read it.
That's right. They have to make sure they have to confirm. They could have them do the.
They got to look at it and go, let's see, did it write something that makes sense, or did it? What does Steve Lato say? Or did it just write nonsense? And then you sign it and turn it in a court case. And then when you figure out it's nonsense, you go, oh, it wasn't me, it was AI. No, you signed your name to it, and you submitted the brief, and it's your fault.
Yeah, like you submitted it. Now you're responsible, buddy.
And the court systems are holding the attorneys responsible.
They need to hold
which
them
is good, because you could put somebody in prison for life because AI
thinks it's
hallucinated something.
Hallucinated something. That's right.
And so I'm really glad to see that the courts
somebody's checking
are holding the attorneys that signed the brief.
But if they're catching people, think of all the people who've gotten away with it and no one realized that they were just making up cases. That's what AI got caught doing. Inventing, hallucinating case law that doesn't exist.
And that's where
trying to use it to get people convicted.
That's terrible. But they're all
and
over
luckily the judge was smart enough to know, like, that's not a real case. But he had to do the work. He had to investigate it. Which is his job.
There was one. The judge went along with it, and it got caught in the appeal that it was a hallucination.
Jeez.
You know.
Somebody could be sitting in jail waiting for that to get resolved.
Yeah. Michelle says Pete takes great care of me as I do him. Kim and I both have our problems, and we have things and I'm way older than she is.
Damn, you're old.
But she's got some back issues, and I've got some.
Oh, I'm a mess.
I got some health issues and stuff. We take care of each other, and it's pretty good.
It's good to have someone.
Kim's giving the block an adjustment. No, she's giving the head an adjustment. It's like a chiropractor. My memorable moment was back in the bus building days. We spent half a day diagnosing a brake issue. I woke up during the night with brake lines, 12 and 21 being reversed, swapped them and worked. You know, when I was designing airplanes, I'd have nightmares about things, mistakes, and I'd go over them and go over them and go. I got so I set a pad of paper by his bed with pen. I wake up and I take notes, go back to sleep.
Oh.
And I did that quite a bit.
My worst.
And there were times there was a piece on a tail of an airplane. You cannot that cannot break. It's one of those single point failure places that cannot break, or somebody's going to die. So I was always worried about that. And I went over it a lot of times, and I'd wake up worried about it and go back to work, and I refigure it again, and I refigured that part so many times. After the airplane was flying, long after we'd sold a lot of them, I'd go back and I'd refigure it again. Somebody had an accident one time. They went off the runway, and they hit places where it snows, the taxi lights and the runway lights are on posts, so they're up higher. They hit one of those with the tail and broke a big chunk of the tail off, which put a load on that part that I was worried about. Huge load on that part. Well, it broke the spar of the horizontal stabilizer. Didn't hurt that part that I was so worried about. And it's like, that piece didn't break. And that's what I would have expected to break. And then I always felt good about it after that. But there were years I worried about that. I had nightmares about that. Always refigured it. Always re-engineered it. And, yeah, it's one of those things where
people don't appreciate the amount of work that goes into something.
You dream about this stuff. You have nightmares about engineering. I don't know.
And someday people will be dependent on AI to do that. And AI is going to do it once and forget all about it.
My little cousin turned in the same book report as 6 of his classmates. Thanks to him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know the problem with that? What if the teacher grades it with AI and they all get A's?
No, they know.
Dean Stevenson, I'll tell you after the vacuum.
Won't be long.
He says that's it. Keep going.
Almost.
Okay, so where was it? Dean Stevenson said something I was going to respond to. I don't know what it was. I got to go back and find it. Oh, Dean Stevenson says, up Del Campo. Dang, it's in double shear. That part was in double shear. It was a clevis where there's a pivot point that's a single point failure that you cannot have. But it was a weldment that was welded and then machined and then fit together. And I was always worried about that weldment. And it was chromoly tubing, or chromoly, not tubing, chromoly steel weldment. Not only was it welded, but then it had to be heat treated. And I was just all over that. I was all over it with everybody that had anything to do with that. I was inspecting it. I would not have some inspector do it. I would inspect every one of them. I would be all over the heat treatment. I was just, if that breaks, somebody dies,
People had to know that it was a critical thing.
And I was just all over every one of them. And once I saw that crash, well, it wasn't much of a crash. A guy hit at a pretty good speed. He hit a runway light, tore the shit out of the tail.
Yeah, but what would have happened if they hadn't been done properly?
And then I knew that part was okay, because something else that was really hefty bent, broke. Something else it was a spar for the horizontal stabilizer. Just snapped it, and I went, "Oh my god, that piece held up good." But I was always worried about that. They always graded me on a curve. One of those. What? I don't know if that's fair to students, sorta. Maybe it's more fair to the teacher, but it really doesn't tell you that the student learned what they should have learned. I don't know. I've had, when I was in school, I had teachers that graded on a curve and teachers that never would. So later on in life, the curve, let's say everybody but us terrible, they still get a good grade, And then the people that, or like if everybody knows the subject real well and the curve's really short, people get graded as average, get a real low grade point average when they really know the material well. So I don't know if I agree with the grading on a curve. It feels good when it happens, I guess. I don't know. What did the sushi say to the bee? Wasabi. Okay.
Did anybody see the new Thunderhead 289 video? He's got a little Saab, a little green Saab that he has dubbed the Wasabi.
Hippie Wong says, I've seen chromoly crack several times. Here, this part was, I wanted it in the normalized condition, which means chromoly in the normalized condition is going to be 90,000 psi yield, and which was plenty for the part. But it's not so hard that it's going to crack. It's going to, if it's at 90,000 psi and the heat treatment is correct, it's going to yield. It's going to bend. It's not going to crack. Now, you can get chromoly and heat treated up to 200,000 psi. Then I'm worried about it. It's strong, but
brittle.
Yeah, the yield and the ultimate get really close together. That means if it starts to yield, it breaks. And if it's normalized, the yield happens way before the break. So the part's going to deform before it, long before it breaks. And that's why I wanted normalized condition. You can have something that's even softer than that and call it the annealed, some sort of annealed condition. And I've done that too, but that's usually when you're forming something, not when it's finished. So yeah, you got to be careful with this stuff. And that's why I was so adamant about the heat treatment process. Tavo, we had a radiator shop. Their motto was best place to take a leak. Yeah, I've seen that around. I used to see that on trucks, and I thought it was funny. Thought about putting it on my delivery cars, and decided I probably didn't want to have that on the side of my delivery car, and I didn't do it. But that was a common thing for some radiator shops to do. Have you welded magnesium? No, I have not. There's two things that I have not.
Isn't magnesium like super flammable?
It's flammable, which means you have to have it. I don't even know how to do it. Yeah, you have to have it shielded somehow. The thing I have not welded that I always wanted to weld was titanium, and I've never done it, but I know it can be done. But the only thing, I don't even know if it's possible. I would think it would have to be shielded somehow. Well, I mean, they make parts out of it, so it's molten. The titanium we machined it. We used it on landing gear legs, and it was strong stuff. It would bend, but
we got a titanium bar laying over there somewhere.
We do have a titanium bar laying around over here somewhere, and it's slightly bent. It's an old landing gear leg, and I just figured the stuff machines nicely, and I figured if we ever wanted to make some small parts out of titanium, we could cut off pieces of that old landing gear lathe and use it, so I have it around here. Let's see. To work at the Dunedin Stadium doing shuttles for Miller's Design. I remember a handsome, dark fella. Looked the guy from Pete Practice. I don't know who he's talking to. Kev can weld magnesium. Grading on a curve is not fair to anyone. Cheats the students out of a real education and makes teachers lazy. I tend to agree with that. Back when I was getting graded on a curve, I liked it because I was usually toward the top of the curve, but it still didn't tell me if I learned what I was supposed to learn.
What's the point of grading on a curve again? Like, what's the purpose of it? So more people pass or more people fail?
I don't know. It was supposed to be fair to everybody, but
I can't remember why.
Also, Crepulent says also chromoly frames need to be blasted to stress relieve it every few years. Let me think about that. Because there are heating and cooling cycles. Now you're going to get me worried about these tail sections again.
Yeah, I know. 40 years from now, they'll still be flying them.
But
and they'll start wrecking them. They'll blame you.
That's another thing that I worry about. Some of those airplanes that I designed are now 35 years old. Man.
People are still flying them.
And some of them are long gone.
Do they count the hours? How do they know how old the airplane is?
Here's the ones that worry me. Somebody quits flying it, and it sits somewhere, and then the hangar space is expensive, so they shove it outside. And it gets rained on and mud all over it and bird shit on it for 10 years. Somebody comes along and goes, I'm going to restore that. And they wash it and they wax it and they clean it all up and they replace a couple of rusty bolts, but they really haven't gone over it well. And the next thing you know, they're flying. That's the airplane I worry.
Yep, because a lot can happen.
And a lot can happen. There could be intergranular corrosion in some part that they're not looking at. Now, an airplane with a type certificate needs to have an annual inspection or 100-hour inspections, and you have to have somebody that's qualified, like this is not AI, it's an IA, inspector authorization. An A&P with inspector authorization needs to go over those things, but sometimes they get paid and they pencil whip it. Now,
how are they going to know which are the critical items on that airplane?
Well, that's why you have somebody that is an A&P with some experience and gets an inspector authorization. That's why they have that qualification, because they know this stuff.
But how are they going to know that, Eric?
Well, yeah. So
the older it gets, the more it's like asking somebody to inspect your Model T to see if it's in good shape.
They have to know materials and things. But anyway, that with a home built airplane, it can be inspected by the person that originally built it, and then because they are the manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
But then if that person isn't around anymore, you have to have a qualified inspector do it. But there's people that don't do that. They just go fly the thing because it's somewhere and they don't give a shit. And that I do worry about, because you get some airplane that's been sitting around for 20 years or something, and then somebody resurrects it. It's been in the mud, and man, yeah, I worry about those airplanes.
Who knows how it's been handled, shipped around?
Oh, it might have been
what it's been through.
Sitting on the coast of California and looks great, but there's salt air all inside everything. It's like, don't know.
We are at 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Time goes fast when you get pissed off.
When you start yelling at people.
I get pissed off, yeah. David Granger's shop built that Bugatti out of magnesium. That car was beautiful. Oh, man. That one that Bad Chad did, I like the proportions on that car. They're a little different than the original, and I actually like Dad Chad's the proportions on his Bugatti better than the original. And his construction's a bit rough. It's kind of like mine. Something isn't, if there's a strong weld, it isn't perfect, and you can't hammer it out straight, and you put a little plastic over it. I'm good with that. Or unless you want to spend your whole life build one car, so I like that Bugatti he's doing. Oh yeah, Olive's here. I missed her when she came in. I saw her come in, but I was
Welcome in, Olive.
I was on a rant.
Olive said she's been having migraines this week. I'm sorry. I hope it eases up.
I had a headache.
The weather or any? I hope there's something you can.
I had a headache last night. It was not a migraine because I get migraines sometimes. Migraines to me are not painful. They mess my vision all up. I mean, they severely mess my vision.
I convinced them to take some Tylenol to help with it.
So Kim was kind of rubbing my back a little bit. I was looking for a lump back. I call it a speed bump, where you get a really tight muscle. There wasn't really one back there. She talked me into taking a couple of 500 milligram Tylenols, which I took, and then it slowly got better, and I was able to get to sleep. Yeah, migraines are not fun. What is this? Kevin says, hope it wasn't the Piper that crashed here in Akron this week. I'm not. I know about that accident, but I don't know a lot about that accident. That has nothing to do with the airplane I worked on. Airplanes I worked on were all kit airplanes that were home builds, or they were military airplanes. So Michelle says they're going to bed. Good night. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, that's right. It hit a house. Yeah, that's I do know about it, but that's about all I know. Yeah, Josh Holman, a magnesium car would concern me. How readily magnesium burns. That magnesium car is likely to be pushed in and out of car shows.
Anything that will carry around a large supply of energy could potentially be destructive.
Bad Chad even said that about that Bugatti. He says he's likely to give it to his daughter someday, but he goes, mostly that car is not going to be driven. It's going to be driven in and out of car shows and on and off trailers and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Kevin says Chad dropped his Bugatti off the lift. Oh, no. How bad did it get hurt? At least one thing, he's good at fixing stuff.
That's right. He knows the guy.
Stevie Burlock says, polish your email or buff it. Okay.
I think it was a pun, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Hippie Long says, I watched Hippie Long said something earlier that I saw, but I was still talking about something else. About going over, he does shows, is going over. I hadn't really thought about that, but I can see where you would do that because you're the guy behind the scenes who's got to make it all work, Hippie Long says, I was so pissed at his fuel tank install. Then he got it better. Okay. Yeah, I remember something about that, but I don't remember the details on it. So you watch Bad Chad, too. I watch him. So I used to watch him every show. When Jolene was there, like a year before she was gone, I was watching him every show. I couldn't stop. And then it got so, I don't know, I wouldn't watch him a whole lot. And then I wasn't even aware she was gone. And then he had a new channel, Bad Chad Garage. And that's when I found out the whole thing about, in fact, I think it was Mexican Spec told me that Jolene left. It's like, what? Because I just hadn't been watching him much. But I still watch him some. CD Burlock, I emailed you an AI video from PBS Nova. Oh, wonderful. Kevin Smith, I stopped watching Chad because he never finishes anything. He jumps around so much. You know what? He did a video about that since Jolene left. He says he got a lot of criticism about that. And he goes, he's not doing that anymore. And here was the story. Jolene was his business manager. And Jolene said, what would happen with Jolene, he goes, they'd be working on something. And he said they'd see a little dip in views. And he goes, that was it. You push it outside, you start the next project. The views would come back up. And he goes, he doesn't care about that anymore. Jolene's gone, and he's not doing that bullshit anymore. He wants to finish his projects. So he says he's going to finish the projects. I'm not saying he'll never push one outside again, but that's why that was happening.
Well, they had that same problem.
That's why that was happening.
They had that same problem when they were doing that television show. They forced them to do one car a month.
When he was doing a television show, he goes, it was one car a month, and they had to meet the schedule, and they had to finish the cars. And it was just like,
they were cutting corners when
they were cutting corners, and he goes, it was just terrorizing. So Jolene, as a business manager,
started doing the same thing.
Started saying, no, they wouldn't finish it in a short period of time. They just shove it outside, start on the next project, and the views would go up. So that was her business.
Everybody liked starting a new project.
That was.
You dream about what it's going to be like.
That was her business manager. And now, Chad's own, well, he's got that woman helping him, manages some stuff, but he's more of a decision maker now, and he says, I'm going to finish the cars. Not doing that shit anymore. So, we'll see. Maybe he will. So, I've been watching him some. But there's so much good content out there. You know, I'm jumping around a lot, you know. Hippie one says, honestly, if his car is magnesium, it should not be allowed indoors at any public hall. Well, you know what?
Magnesium, it doesn't spontaneously
combust.
It's not a battery.
And it's hard to get it going.
But there is a reality of, like, you don't want to park your magnesium car next to some kind of ignition source. There could be issues. You want to be aware.
I have worked on a lot of magnesium parts over the years and been mildly careful with it. In fact, we machined some magnesium when I was at the aircraft place, and the machinist took a bunch of magnesium chips, and he was trying to burn it, and he did set some little pieces on fire, and they burned up pretty quickly, but he really had to try, you know. So, like some big piece of magnesium, like we had some magnesium that was 3/8 thick. It was like a bar stock, and we couldn't get it to burn.
There's different alloys.
We tried, you know. So
Boy, when it does burn,
and when it burns, it's a problem. If you want to see magnesium burn, there's a video. I'm sure it's still around. There was an Airbus, an A320 Airbus that landed somewhere in California. I think it was in Long Beach. Might have been in LA. I don't remember where it was. Somewhere in that neck of the woods. And the front wheel, the nose wheel, had stuck 90 degrees. And they're flying around with passengers. And they flew around, and tried to fix it. And they weren't going to be able to fix it. And they did some flybys. And people in the towers, it's still crooked. Well, by the time all this gone by, every news media you could think of was at the airport pointing cameras at it. And people were in the airplane watching the videos from the ground of their airplane with the wheel stuck 90 degrees off. So they're going to land with the wheel 90 degrees off because they don't have any choice. And it's a magnesium wheel. So they come in, they hold the nose up. Well, you're only going to hold it up so long. The nose starts to come down, and the tire smokes and burns off and pops pretty quickly, and then the magnesium catches on fire. And they go down the runway with a big old magnesium fire. Well, by the time the airplane stopped, the magnesium fire was about out, and it didn't spread any further. And the fire trucks are chasing it down the runway.
And they probably flew that plane around until as much fuel as possible was gone out of it.
But
if they were
If
small.
you want to see a magnesium fire, I'm sure you can find that video. It's an A320 Airbus.
They knew it was coming, so they
Nose
were ready for
wheel
it.
fire.
They were ready for it.
And Hippie Long says, look, you guys, there's laws for vehicles inside. Yeah, there probably are. I know we had problems with, not problems, but things we had to conform with the amount of fuel.
Well, they don't recommend that you charge lithium scooters and other cheaply made lithium-powered
Yeah, of course, we had
things indoors.
our airplanes that were not military airplanes. The civilian airplanes we had were all lead-acid batteries, so we didn't have problems there. We did have limits on the amount of fuel we could have on board. There were a couple of things, but we really didn't have a lot of problems with the aircraft indoors. But there were some rules. And Olive, I guess, is taken off. Right?
Good night, Olive. Hope you feel better.
And I'm sure Hippie Long is really aware of that stuff because of the work he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then magnesium fires can't be put out easily, so no fire code violation. And you're in California, and there's probably different rules in different places, although I don't know. I know there's all kinds of different rules about all kinds of different places. I see it on here. People go, oh, it's illegal. And I go, well, actually, here it's not illegal. Somebody was quoting some rule about something. It had to do with car registration. And, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that. And I'm not like, well, actually, here in Tennessee, you can do that. A state regulation. So I don't know. You'd have to, check your local, find out what the rules are where you are. And at magnesium, we had to know how to do that in the Air Force. And we had Class D fire extinguishers. And if we had anything to do with maintenance or working on the flight line or anything, we had to know how to use those. And, of course, the fire department had Class D fire extinguishers. Kevin Smith, there was a magnesium fire in Cleveland years ago. It took weeks to put out. Oh, my God, that must have been huge. Oh, yeah, and Dean Stevenson said magnesium fire like in 1955 Le Mans with the Talbot logo hitting the stands in the Mercedes-Benz. Lightweight in line 8 going on. Okay, inline 8 going on fire. Yeah, that's a very well-known one. Hippie Long says, must basic law. All doors must open out in arenas and theaters. And California, I think it was in California. All stores and our shops, everything had to open outwards. But here, I don't see that, but I would certainly prefer the door open out. And then right here, we've got one that opens in.
If you didn't know, the automatic doors that go like this, if you apply enough force, they have to open out as well. They have latches on them, but if you push on them in an emergency, they'll release out.
See, and she's worked on that kind of stuff. So
I have done a lot of construction.
So, there's Tavo says everything's a violation in California except stuff that doesn't cause cancer, which is nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I get things like, what do we get? We got a carburetor, and it said on there that causes cancer in California. And I said, when I opened it and I read that, I said, you know what? If you're in California, do not eat this carburetor.
You'll get cancer.
So I'm sure they mean something else, but that's kind of how it comes across.
It's funny to make jokes about.
Yeah, and Luis is confirming 1955 Le Mans was a disaster. It sure was. I was 1 year old, but I was 1 year old when that happened. So it's like all of us. I've only seen it in history. Yeah, that was bad. Kim's still picking at this stuff.
I've made really good progress. I think I probably need to use the die grinder on some of this, but I'm definitely not going to try and do
Are you
that.
gonna pour? I don't know if you want to use pour something like that. I suppose what I would guess is if Kim sees something in there that's like a really ugly casting mark or something, she'll probably knock it off. But I would hope.
I don't see a lot to gain from porting on this head. I could if I was running a performance, but a cam would make a huge difference. Porting is hard, dangerous work. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think.
So the chat has stopped, and I don't know if that's YouTube or if everybody just went to sleep.
You bored them to sleep.
I bored them. Well, yeah, when I was yelling and everything, I watched the views go way up.
You're like, what's
I watch people get upset and then I get calm down and all that. While I'm sitting there, I'm watching more and more people. It's like I should do this every night.
You should yell every night.
I should yell every night. The place would go crazy. You know?
Great, just what we need.
You know what'll happen? I think everybody's asleep. What'll happen? All of a sudden it'll go. It'll scroll by a whole page all at once. Because it'll catch up. I'm drinking my, whatever this stuff is, Dr. Perky. Yeah, and Dean Stevenson says, don't eat too many carbs. Yeah, I'm not supposed to eat carbs, but I think they weren't thinking about a carburetor. Man, you know I'm not supposed to eat carbs.
I did know that. Yeah.
Can I eat dual carbs?
You really have to count.
Tri-power? They don't say anything about tri-power. Right there, I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes. So she gave me a... Yeah. You know what really angers me is when I make a mistake the second time or the third time, and it's something that has some...
That gives them license to holler.
Oh my God, do I get mad at myself?
Yeah.
The first mistake, I can make a really bad mistake that costs me and everything. I'm fine with it. It's like, okay. I don't want to do that again. But then I do it again. Then I get mad. I really get angry with myself. I really get angry. And by the third or fourth time making the same mistake, man, I'll get mad at myself because I know better. You know? Kim, cleaning that head reminds me of going to the dentist for a cleaning.
You know, it is a lot like that.
There's like...
This is just the initial cleaning. Once I wash it now, then I get out the drill.
Hippie Long says just port match the gaskets. I think this...
I might do that because the 318 is different than
the
Slant 6. But a bunch of people were mad when I said I don't think it matters on a Slant 6, but I believe it matters on this. It's just different.
Let's see. Luis says, yes, me too, Buff. So I was very angry to watch a movie. Oh, because you watched them before? Well, if it was a mistake. I was told at a young age, this Tavo says, I was told at a young age that you learn from your mistakes. So I make more of them. So I become a genius.
That's why I make so many.
When I make the same mistake twice, I'm just
smart. Because I screw up all the time.
I can't even think of the mistakes I've done like that where I'll tell you one I make, and I'm trying to not make them. I eat in my bedroom, sitting at my desk with watching YouTube. I like to do that. Sometimes we eat out in the dining room, kitchen, whatever. Mostly we eat like in our rooms watching videos. And sometimes Kim will come in there, sit down with me and we'll eat it. So what I tend to do is I walk from the kitchen to my room, and I don't want to take 2 trips. So I try to take everything. My left hand's a little shaky. So you got to add that into the mix. And sure as shit, I'll drop something on the way. Usually not the food, but sometimes. Or a drink. Or my silverware. Or something will go on the floor. And I know better than to try to do it in one trip, but I'll do it anyway. And I'm starting to learn not to do that. Hippie Long says, what is this deep-seated anger? Oh, man. Luis, so Ice Age 5 is very awful, and this is the worst movie ever, so don't watch it more than once. man, there are things that set me off, and usually it's like, well, it's always doing the same thing twice. It's dumb, you know. That. What's another one I do? I get pissed off about, and I go, oh, that's stupid. Why did I do that? Oh, I know you've heard me get pissed off at myself. She thinks I'm mad at her, and I'm like, no. It's like I made the same mistake for the 40th time, and I know better. Buddy Carafano says, I hate when you teach someone how to fix their mistakes, but they keep doing it wrong. You know, if somebody else makes a mistake, it doesn't bother me. I go, okay. If they know what they did wrong, I just leave alone. If they need some help, I'll go, okay. You know, to prevent that, or maybe something I do that try to prevent that or whatever. But mostly people make a mistake, they probably know it, and they just leave it alone, but it doesn't upset me. Even if it affects me, it doesn't upset me. It's like, all right. But I hold myself to such a high standard when I've made a mistake in the past and I do the same thing again. Man, get in a hurry.
Barracuda! Oh my God!
I said to my wife, I look in the mirror, I see an ugly old man. I need you to say something positive about me. She replied, well, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with your eyesight. I like the way this guy thinks. He says a lot of says a lot of stuff like that.
He knows how to bring humor to difficult situations.
Kevin Smith, I usually eat in bed this time every night. So pitiful. Man, once in a while I'll bring Kim food in bed. I think she likes that. Because she'll be there like half waking up and she's got her, I see her, I can hear the YouTube coming on and she isn't all the way up yet. And I'll go, she's got a routine. She wants her coffee on. So I'll go turn the coffee machine on. She's got it all sitting there ready. Turn it on. And sometimes, not very often, I'll make her food and bring it to her. And I know she likes it. I should do it more. Kevin Smith, I hate when someone asks me how to do something, then argue about it. Yeah. When I'm showing
people just want to argue.
When I'm showing somebody did this to me one time. I was working in an automotive shop, and I'd worked there off and on. One of these jobs I had a couple of different times. And there was a guy that I just met there, and I was working. I had a car up on a lift. I don't remember what I was doing. It was front end shop, so I was doing something on the front end. Had a car up on a lift, and I was struggling with something. And this guy that I didn't know very well comes walking over me. He goes, I want to show you how I do that. He goes, now, there's probably 100 right ways to do this. But he goes, this is the way I find easy. He goes, you can do it the way you want, but I want to show you this. I said, okay. He showed me. And I don't remember if I did it his way or my way. But I always remembered that. So when I'm showing somebody how to do something, I'll go, you know what? There's probably 100 good ways to do this. But I want to show you the way that I found it's easy. And then you can decide how you want to do it. But I've always remembered that, and I've always used that line because there are more than one way to do something. Now, with the airplanes and heat treating that part, there was one way to do it. You have somebody that knows how to do the heat treating, and you have them do it right. And that's real particular about that. And there were other things on the airplanes that the result had to be right. But if somebody held the scissors a little different, or did the ribbing a little different, and I'd look at them and go, maybe they know something I don't know. But if the result was the same, I was good to go. Very good. It says, I got that from Norm McDonald. Hippie Long, what I do is not broadcast my mistakes and semi-quietly redo shit. I'm a grumbler. Oh, the first time I make a mistake, yeah, I won't broadcast the mistake. And I'll be, that's exactly right. The second time I make the same mistake, I'm pissed. You stupid ass, stupid old man, why'd you do that, I'll be talking to myself. Oh, like if I ever run over myself with the Studebaker again, I'll be mad.
The problem is, at his age, he's made all the mistakes. So if he makes a mistake, it's almost certainly again.
No, there's times I make new mistakes.
He makes fresh mistakes now and again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did something, I don't remember what it was, a couple of days ago or maybe yesterday or something. I did something stupid. And I remember I was in the hallway, and you even said something to me. I don't remember what it was. I was like right in my bedroom door, going in a hallway somewhere in there. And I said, that's all right. I'm not upset. I just don't want to make that mistake again. But that's the first time. I'm not upset. It's a learning experience. The second time, that's not a learning experience. That's a stupid experience.
It's faulty programming.
The other thing I do notice about getting old is I don't know if there's more to remember or if I actually forget shit. And then when I make the mistake, it's like, oh yeah, now I remember. I really hate Buddy Car House. I really hate when you go to the parts store and the guy behind the counter knows nothing about. Yeah, no shit. And the story I tell in here, I've told it before, is going in there and you remember the old ground straps that were like a braided piece of something, copper or steel, the braided strap. And they used to go like from the engine block to the firewall or from the engine to the frame, something like that. I'm trying to remember what car I think it was my Zephyr. We went to there was no ground strap between the engine and the firewall. So we went up here to a parts store. One behind the counter. Well, I couldn't find one. So I went up there and asked. And she goes, "Your make and model or something?" I go, No. There isn't going to be your make and model. It's just a ground strap. They used them on older cars. And she's like, "Give me your make and model." All right. Then she can't find it, of course. So then she goes over to some place and she's looking up and down. She doesn't even know what I'm talking about. She gives me like some kind of wire that's got insulation on it. I'm like, no. I can't even draw this thing to show her, you know? Like, oh my God. You work in a parts store, you don't know what a ground strap is. But I guess she wouldn't. Kevin Smith, when building model cars, I have 50 years experience, but they still argue about my answer.
Of course they do.
Usually 5 ways to do stuff, but I know what's easiest for me. Yeah. Talo says, problem with learning at late age is your brain has limited bytes.
That's right.
But, so it has to delete old files for new stuff. Okay. Does anybody here like jigsaw puzzles? You know what, Mexican Spec? I had roommates back, man, I was probably mid-20s. Had a couple of roommates. And on a kitchen table, we always had a jigsaw puzzle there. And you'd walk in the door and you'd look at it and you'd put one piece in or something. Or when walking by, you'd put one piece. Or if you're cooking something in the microwave while it's going, you'd look in there and put 1 or 2 pieces in. And pretty soon it'd be finished. And then you'd try to slide something under it so you could frame it. And we'd always bust them then. So then you know what we did? We got a jigsaw puzzle because we decided we wanted to glue the jigsaw puzzle onto like a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood when it was done. So we did the jigsaw puzzle upside down. So now all you can see is like gray cardboard. You can't see the picture. And now you got to build the jigsaw puzzle. That one was a bitch, but we got through it. But since I had those roommates, I don't think I've ever done a jigsaw puzzle. But that's how we did it. Does anybody here like, okay, Buddy C, Buddy Carpano, this is Kevin Smith saying, they're the ones that fold their gaskets. Yeah, no shit. Twice we had gaskets sent to us that They folded them in half and put them in a box. Are you shitting me? But you know what that led to? I was kind of upset with them, but it wasn't my mistake, but it was still kind of irritating. That's when Dean Stevenson said, use the old shim gasket. I'm going, you can't reuse a gasket. He's going, yeah, I've got several of them here. I've done it before. Don't worry about it. Clean it up. Use it. And I knew a guy that did that once, and it worked. But that was many years ago. It was on a flathead Chrysler that had like 5-to-1 compression or something. So he talked me into it, and I cleaned it all up and sprayed copper coat all over it and put it on my car. And you know what? It works so well. So actually, I'm kind of happy they folded those in half because I never would have done that. And
yeah, we got our money back.
Dean Stevenson, yeah, got our money back. Yeah, there's a story behind that too. It wasn't nice, but anyway, we have a community jigsaw at the next town ups. That'd be the next town, what we would say over, but I understand next town ups. Library. Anyone passing through can insert one piece. That's pretty cool. Mexican spec. I just put together a 1,000-piece puzzle. At the end, there were 2 pieces missing, which I understand, but there was also an extra piece that didn't go anywhere. Man, they don't make them the way they used to. They, what the hell? How does that happen? Ozan!
Hey, Ozan!
From Ukraine, Turkey. Hello, everyone. Hello. I was just saying to Kim, was it this morning? Maybe it was last night. Last night I was saying, you know what? Ozan, Ukraine, Turkey, came back. I said I was so glad to see him, and I was so happy to see him, and he was okay, and we said hi to him. And we were talking about that after the show. Hippie Long. I just go to the rack in the parts store knowing it's not behind the counter that contains the idiot parts person. Yeah. And that's what I tried to do, and I couldn't find a ground strap. I ended up buying one that was like about half the size I wanted. And after thinking it out real well, we decided it was probably going to be hefty enough. Maybe I should have bought 2 of them. I don't know. It's hard to find those big, fat, wide, braided ground straps anymore. Yeah, buddy Carvon, putting a whole puzzle together and missing one piece would suck, you know? Shit. Very good to say. UTG said when he went to a parts store, there was a young woman that didn't speak English, and she had a teenage boy to help her, and he knew nothing about cars. But you know what he needs? You know what she needs? AI. That would be
Don't tell them
that would be a perfect thing for AI. You know? That's a good thing. That's a good way to use AI. Instead of being a thief with it. Okay, Mexican Spec says, I did one once that had the image on both sides of the pieces. That was a shot. Yeah, you wouldn't know if they were upside down or right side up. Yeah, the one we did upside down took a while, but we knew it was upside down. You know, we knew that it was kind of a grayish brown color. But then when we were done, we were able to glue it to a piece of wood and flip it over, and amazingly, we got it right.
You know that you could just do the puzzle on the piece of wood, and then if you lay another piece of wood on
another piece and then do it. Yeah, but we came up with this idea, let's do it upside down, which is a real challenge. Kevin Smith, try a 3D puzzle. Ozan says, hair dye has arrived. Hair dye has arrived. Mexican Spec, while I was putting away the box, I found one of the missing pieces. It just jumped out at me. Oh, this is like in a tab or something. Man, we got something from that we ordered, and I couldn't find one of the pieces, and then I started prying the bottom of the box up. Sure as shit, I found one of the pieces under there. I don't remember what that was. I remember doing it not long ago. I take one look at that, Mexican Spec, and walk away. You might be able to tell by their punch. You might be able to tell by the way it's punched that it's got a little bit of a radius or a little bit of a hook on the outside, and then you can flip them all around right side up.
Yeah, I would think so. That's what I'd be doing.
Carlos is the 2-sided one. Mexican Spec, I don't enjoy 3D puzzles. I don't even know what that is. What's a 3D?
Now you have to look it up.
Oh, and Hippie Long says, good night, Kim. Good night, Buff. Okay,
Good
take
night.
care.
Thanks for being here.
He says you're sleepy. We're sleepy? Oh.
Yeah, you're getting sleepy. So sleepy. This is at a 3-angle valve job at one time.
Well, it should be a 3. You know, people go, I want a 3-angle valve job. The very first valve job I did in high school, they taught us how to do 3-angle because that's, I don't know how you could do it any other way. Yeah.
Well, you could just.
Oh, you could, well, or, yeah, I mean, you could just touch them up, but normally, yeah, you got to do a 3-angle valve job if you're going to actually grind the seeds. But yeah, we do a lot of them here where they look really good. You just what did you say?
We don't do a lot of anything. We do only very small. We're a boutique style shop. We just do
Slava Ukraine.
one little thing at a time, but
Yeah, I hope someday you get your country back.
50 things at once. One at a time.
Fellow that just gets a deer in the headlights look at goes on, says, Buff, I'm having breakfast this morning. Hop on a plane and come to Istanbul. We'll have breakfast together. Man, does that sound good? Except I don't like to fly anymore.
He's not a breakfast person anymore.
I'm not a breakfast person, but I don't know. The reason I'm not a breakfast person is because there were times I had jobs all night in the Air Force. And in the Air Force, at midnight chow is breakfast. Halfway through the middle of the night is breakfast. Then when you get off work, shit, it's breakfast time. So like for years, all you eat is ham and eggs and hash browns, and you really get sick of it. You know? I used to wake up in the middle, set my alarm for the middle of the day, so I'd go eat lunch and I'd eat steak or sandwiches or something, just so I didn't have to eat breakfast again.
Every meal of the day?
I've turned into not much of a breakfast person and mostly not much of an eggs person, although once in a while I make a good omelet. I make a good omelet.
If you're hungry enough, you accept.
Yeah, if you're hungry enough, I'll eat anything. Kevin Smith says, we have 10 or so puzzles under our bed for the last 20 years. Never did glue them together. Stuff you do, this is Mexican stuff. You do the puzzle on cardboard and they make clear liquid you put on it. It stays together. Oh, okay. Well, what we did, you know, it was a bunch of us just screwing around, you know, a bunch of roommates, and we go, let's do it upside down to make it easy to do that. So we did it. It took a while.
My mother, for many, many, many years, always had a big puzzle setting out. And they learned, the problem was, is in the summertime or when you got busy with things in life, the puzzle would just sit and then it'd be in the way. And you don't want to stack things on it. So my mother, we would have a piece of wood. Well, I mean, she told us the problem, so we helped her solve it. So first we had a piece of plywood, right? So then if you needed to, you could move the puzzle from one table to the other. Because it would sit on the dining room table, but then there'd be an event, and we needed a table. So she didn't want to put the puzzle all away, so she put the puzzle on her bed, you know, while guests were there, and then she could put it back on the dining room table. Well, then that kind of got to be a pain because people wanted to put coats somewhere, and we always threw the coats on the bed. So then they got on the puzzle, and the puzzle got messed up. Anyways, so one year, I don't know who it was. I don't think it was me, but one of the kids, we found this thing you could buy out of a catalog. All it was a cardboard tube about yo big around and a piece of felt. And we would lay the felt on the cardboard, and as she built the puzzle, as long as the pieces weren't stacked, because sometimes she'd organize, you know, all the blue pieces that she hadn't found yet, she'd put them over there. As long as they weren't a stack, as long as it was individual pieces, you could put the roll and roll the felt with the puzzle in it. And since the felt had some give and the curve of the cardboard tube was not too tight, you could roll the puzzle up into a roll and then move it around, and it wouldn't interrupt the puzzle hardly at all. If it did mess it up a little bit when you rolled it out, you could put it back together real easy. So then she could do that, because then once you had it in a roll, it was real easy to set in a corner somewhere out of the way until you wanted to work on it again. So there you go. Let's go. If anybody's working on a puzzle, that's the thing to get is that roll. You put the roll on the plywood, and then you can move the plywood around. You can move the roll around, and yeah.
Kevin says we built our puzzles on Luan plywood.
That's
Man,
right. That's it. Luan.
You know what I
get
used?
2 points for using Luan.
You know what I used to use Luan for? A lot. I'd buy sheets of Luan, and then we cut it up, and I'd make something like, let's say I'm making a nose cone for an airplane. I glue it basically into the shape that I wanted.
Luan pieces up on the shelf where you guys can't see.
And then Bondo over it, and just you make this big wooden Bondo part, and get it perfect, and then you pull a mold off of it, and then you just go put that thing on a shelf somewhere in case you need it again. But now you got a mold, and you make fiberglass parts out of the mold.
That's what we're gonna have to start doing. Is building fiberglass cars.
I made a lot of stuff out of Luan over the years. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do a fiberglass car. That's expensive.
How come? Because all the
chemicals. Yeah, I mean the glass isn't expensive, but the epoxy and all the heck.
We'll use some of that cheap Chinese epoxy.
Cheap Chinese epoxy. Yeah.
We're not going to live very long. It'll be somebody else's problem.
Kevin Smith, the warden has a golf ball puzzle, like 100 golf balls. Never did finish that. Is that a 3D? It's like a ball, like a golf ball.
We'll do it right. We'll even buy the UV protectant for the epoxy. People buy that epoxy. It's cheap. They buy it in like gallon barrels of it.
Space Cat says, well, you two are up late. Yeah, we are. Kim's cleaning that head, and I got carried away. I got pissed off at something.
I told him to be done half an hour ago.
I was yelling and upset, and now I calmed down. But while I was yelling and upset, I'm over here looking at the number of current viewers, and it was going up and going up.
Yell all the time?
It's like, maybe I should yell all the time and have more views. No, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to be involved in that. It's unpleasant.
Let's see. Yeah, it's unpleasant.
Maybe it's entertaining, though.
The image is hard. You go by the shape of the pieces, yeah.
See, but like a lot of the commercial puzzles, all the pieces are basically the same shape. Where there's like 5 or 8 or maybe 10 pieces, and then they're all a copy of that, because that's how they print them out.
Hippie Long said something, I don't know what it was up further. I'll paraphrase it the best I can remember. He said something about the difficulty in flying into Turkey. I think that's what it was. I should go back and read it.
Yeah, go back and read it.
So I don't get it wrong. Yes, there's okay. Where is it? Ozon. He said Ozon kind of restricted flying by Turkey on the south side, and then Ozon said, yes, there's a war. That's why flights are restricted. Please pray that this war ends. Yeah, that's what I said earlier, man.
You're in my prayers.
I hope you
terrible thing.
Hope you get your country back someday. Hippie Long says, Ozon, I watch prisoner interviews. That's why he knows about it. Yeah, and me watching. Sometimes I'm watching where flights go or something, and you just see this blank area where there's nothing, and it's. And of course, I know people that fly in and out of other areas that near there, and they got to go around everything. It's what a mess. One guy.
Yeah. If they wanted to get rid of that guy, they would. You telling me that the whole country of Russia, if they wanted rid of that guy, they couldn't get rid of him?
He is a intelligent person that has made it so the people around him will never conspire because they all hate each other. I don't know exactly how it is, but they're all loyal to him. It's horrible. It's horrible. And then when he's gone, someday he'll be gone. There'll be a big old power struggle, and it could get worse. It's just God. You look back hundreds of years. Russia's always been a mess. And I know Russian people who are very nice people. They got to live that.
The Russian people have no control over their government. They can't resist.
They got to live
If
that.
you're a Russian soldier, you can't.
It's like
you can't stop it.
It's the guy I was talking about earlier. The guy whose girlfriend she speaks Russian. They're in Thailand, and she has a YouTube channel that's geared toward English speaking people. So she just talks off the top of her head, or maybe she writes something, but she uses AI to make it into English, and it makes her mouth look like she's speaking English. It's amazing. So I always said that we got in this discussion earlier. That was one of the great uses of AI.
Yeah, it's
but
a
then,
legitimate
but then
use.
her boyfriend is Ivan.
Ivan the Terrible.
He goes by his channel. Sanctioned Ivan. Well, you know why he's sanctioned? Because he had to leave Russia, or he would have got sent off to the mess. So he's living in Thailand, and he goes, well, this is not really where I wanted to go, but this is where I am. And he goes, I'm making the best of it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life yet, but right here, he's built a car, and then he's got some other cars, and currently he's got an Audi he's working on, and he's making the best of it. And when he was a kid, his family sent him with relatives to live in Ireland for a while, for like quite a few years. He went to school in Ireland, and he says when he got there, he didn't speak a word of English. But when he left Ireland, he spoke English quite well. So he does his YouTube channel all in English, and he speaks English quite well because he went to school in Ireland. So, but he's got a Russian passport, so he can't just go anywhere he wants to go. But he's an interesting guy. But he can't go home, sadly.
And I'm sure he doesn't want to hurt anyone in Ukraine.
No, of course not. Of course not.
And if it did, it would be because of the propaganda.
He doesn't want anything to do with that
nationalism.
Mess. He doesn't want anything to do with that mess. Okay, Hippie Long says, my favorite breakfast is lunch. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Kevin Smith says, cabinet maker better know what Luan plywood is. I built a little building inside my shop, and it was small, and it was like an office, but I needed a door for the office, and of course it was a non-standard size door. So I got some wood, and I built a frame, and I put foam inside it so it would be insulated, because it's going to be cold in the shop, and I wanted it warm in the office. And so I had to cut the foam a little bit thinner, so I used a hot wire to cut the foam a little bit thinner, and then I covered that door with Luan, and right where the doorknob went, I put a big chunk of solid wood in there, like a 2x8 or something, right where the doorknob went. And I had a friend there, he's just shaking his head, I can't believe you made a door. I go, well, it wasn't that hard. I used some little tack.
I mean, who think invented doors?
I glued it together, and I used some, that nail gun I have? It's like a staple gun, but it shoots little nails.
Yeah.
I just put it together with that after I glued it, and man, it was a beautiful door.
Some people
but it was non-standard size, so I had it together like an hour or two. It probably took me a couple hours because I had to cut that piece of foam because I wanted it insulated. I don't know. I always made shit. I made a lot of shit. Oh, if all the pieces were the same shape, that would be hard. That would be impossible.
Well,
but they're really close. They're really close. You look black as you can see black all over the place. Yep. My company made magazine racks out of Luan plywood, many thousands of them for many grocery stores. Oh, you were the guy. I used to, when I was a little kid, of course there's no internet. So I'd go to the grocery store with my mother. I go, can I stand here? Yep. Don't go anywhere else. So I know where you are. Okay. So I was a little kid. I'd stand by the magazine rack and read everything about cars. Motor Trend magazine. I'd stand there. First thing I do, grab Motor Trend, read it from cover to cover if she wasn't done by then. And then beg her to buy it. She bought them for me sometime.
Well, that's cool.
I had Motor Trend. Well, my first magazine was July 1962 Carcraft magazine. And I bought that in 1962. I was in second grade. Well, I was summer after second grade, and then I want car magazines off Magazine Rack. She buy them for me sometimes. That's how I learned about cars when I was a kid.
Hey, what are the chances you could check how true this head surface is?
Check how true my head surface is?
See if it's warped or anything.
See if my top of my head's flat.
Give it a little check. What do you think? It's clean enough to touch.
Let's see, my company. Okay,
Not
wait a
to
minute.
touch, but to measure.
Mexican Spec says your blood pressure doesn't want you to do that all the time.
That's true.
All working, and it's been raining here. Oh, it's been raining here too. That's another reason why it 2 hours into this, I didn't want to go home because it's pouring rain outside. But it sounds like it quit. Okay, so now Kevin Smith said, would be horrible living through war times, praying for those folks. Yeah, for those of us in the U.S. or a few other places, New Zealand, Canada, a few places around the world where we have people in here, we've been really lucky. No wars in our home country. I mean, we got attacked a couple of times, and it was horrible, but no big old wars. And somebody like Ozon had to live with that. And that's really sad. And he says, I hope the war ends. Let's not obsess over it. Yeah, let's not obsess over it, but we all feel for you, Kevin Smith says, called a Brad Nailer. You're right. I just couldn't think of that.
Get 2 points for remembering Brad Nailer. Thank you.
I was calling a stapler with nails, and then he's laughing at me. He should laugh at me. Kevin Smith said, we made American greeting card racks also. We were in a store yesterday, or maybe it was just me. I don't remember.
Yeah, you were in the store, yeah.
And I walked by.
Because you had to go to a bunch of stores.
And I walked through a greeting card rack, and I thought, man, it's been years since I bought a greeting card. What the hell is that doing here? Do people still buy those?
Yeah, they do. Lots of people still buy greeting cards.
Space Cat says, personal touch on a cylinder head. Oh, you didn't come in till late. Kim disassembled this thing and cleaned it, and she already cleaned the other one. Where's the valves? Oh, you got to see.
There's probably one that's still gummed up. The one part of this to the left. Yeah, try that one. I think that one's all gummy.
This is what the valves look like. That's an intake valve. And the ports looked about the same.
They're all gummed up real bad.
Oh, man. You bought these were just heads she bought for the rockers.
For the rocker.
For the rocker arm shafts. But now her heads are cracked. So now she's cleaning these all up.
Refurbished.
She'll probably use these now.
I think we're checking them real good. We're going to clean them and make sure there's no cracks. We might get new exhaust valves because they're burning a little bit burned. I don't know.
Yeah, Tavo says people are often surprised when they learn how many areas of Australia were attacked during World War II. You only seem to hear about the bombing of Darwin. You know what? And when I said United States, New Zealand, Canada, that's why I didn't mention Australia, because you were attacked. And that was a tough thing,
I don't ever remember learning
anything
says, about that.
Buff, my friend, I suggest you continue to examine classic Turkish cars. You know what? I've never done that. But now that you say that, when I get home tonight, I'm going to get something to eat, take the food in there, sit in front of my computer, and I'm going to look at Turkish cars. Cool. I haven't done it before. You know who else went to Turkey? Ivan. That's the first place he went, but then his visa ran out. And he went back to Russia and skedaddled out of there as quick as he could, and went to Thailand because he didn't want to be in a mobilization.
Yeah, that's like almost a death sentence. It's really bad.
You know, Ozan, what I'm hoping, you're in Turkey. I assume you're finding some cool things about Turkey. And like cars, you're talking about Turkish cars. Maybe the good side of this, if there is a good side, is you found something good in Turkey. I hope so. I am really lucky. I've never had to get pushed out of my country. You know, I've had to leave here because of work or something like that, but I've never been pushed out of my country.
You always knew you had a safe.
Always had a home. And whether it's all perfectly good or not, I didn't have a war to leave. You know, so thankful for that. Kevin Smith says magazines and card racks were a pain in the ass to build. Really? And then Buddy Carfon says, "What you cooking, Buff, when you get home?" Hey, how many of you want to see what I cook? I'm thinking about doing a couple of videos of me cooking the garbage I cook because, you know, I don't have a lot of money, so I don't buy all the best ingredients. So sometimes I look around and I go, what can I make with this? And I make something, and sometimes it's pretty good. What is it? Adversity. What did you say that day?
Builds character.
Adversity builds character. Sometimes adversity builds something good to eat, and maybe I'll video that sometime. Bob's cooking show. I told Kim, I said I want to do this, and I told her how I kind of want to set it up, which I need to do that because I haven't done any of it yet.
I told him I'm not filming nothing until he cleans the kitchen.
Well, see, part of the kitchen's clean, but there's part that isn't. We have a table there. It's a big folding table that seems to catch everything, not food, but just it gets piled up with. Yeah. How many of you have car parts in the kitchen? Okay, so you can imagine.
Car parts in the kitchen.
So car parts and CB radio. Car parts and CB radio parts. So that needs to be cleaned out of the kitchen before we can do any videos there. But I said, I'm going to get a big, tall chef's hat and maybe put on some coveralls because I'll spill it all over myself and be like the mechanic in the kitchen cooking. I don't know. So.
Hey, can you check this cylinder head? Let me know how this is.
Cooking shorts with Buff to be fun to watch. Okay, taking a break from the chat.
You got some measuring devices, right?
Measuring devices.
I'm checking in the drawer. Measuring device.
Check your drawers.
Check your drawers. That's exactly what I meant.
See if I can still walk after sitting.
I know. His hiney is probably numb.
No, it's not my hiney. It's my
legs.
Legs are asleep.
Who's here? Thanks for sticking around, guys. I thought after he started yelling, everybody would leave and no one would come back.
Okay, Kim, I'm gonna check two things here.
Okay,
Do you have a feeling gauge over there?
No, I think the feeling gauges are in the drawer.
Feeling gauge too? I don't know where the feeling gauge is. I'm looking. I found a hacksaw blade.
That's not a feeler gauge.
It's cold. Kim, I don't know where the feeler gauges are. I think they can be on that toolbox over there.
No.
No?
I'll find it. You start measuring. I'll find the feeler gauge.
It might be in one of these drawers. But I want to check a tool that I have. This tool is pretty darn flat. But this tool, a guy in a sheet metal shop made this for me with a shear. And it's a 16-inch thick piece of 6061 aluminum. And he just like lopped it off. But then they took a laser cutter and cut the middle out of it. Made it kind of a nice tool. But I don't know if that's completely flat. And I want to try it. So if this proves to be flat, then I can prove that's flat.
Here's 0.25 millimeters.
Well, you run that under there. I'm going to hold this. Subs in Sydney Harbor.
I'm getting nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, there's no gap.
Okay. What about out there at the end? See, let me hold that better. Cause see, that's where I thought the thing was flat all the way across. Oh no, that's not bad.
Well, this is 1/4 of a millimeter. So that's
Which is
pretty small.
Which is
A Velcro head gasket.
let me see you're moving it so fast I can't read it. That's 10 thousandths.
That's what I said.
That's huge.
It's huge. Well, the 10 thousandths of head gasket's 40 thousandths.
Head gasket, yes.
Velcro, standard Velcros.
Top end of Western Australia actually got landed on. Wow. See, my father was there after that. He was young at the beginning of World War II. He went in when he was 17 in 1944. So he ended up in New Guinea after they got the Japanese out of the eastern end of New Guinea. So he was there for until the end of the war.
I can get the 0.1 millimeter under there pretty easy.
0.1.
0.1. Wait,
How many?
0.004.
4 thousandths. You can get 4 thousandths over way down there. Yeah, I mean that'll work.
Goes in there. I mean,
Buddy Carpano says spray foam will fill the gap.
I'm more worried about like this way.
Okay, let me hold it. I'll hold it while you do that.
This is okay.
Yeah, point.
What about over here?
You got what? What did you say? 4 thousandths?
Yeah.
4 thousandths won't go up. It won't go under. You're in the wrong place. There. 4 thousandths. Okay, now I want to try this,
yeah.
Kim. Now we're gonna see how good this is.
That means I don't have to take it and get it resurfaced. It won't go through. It'll go in, but it won't go through.
So this is actually pretty straight.
Well, that's nice because it has more structure.
Well, see,
one, if you push on it, it'll.
This was done. The guy shoved in a shear, wham! Enormous shear. So I always assumed it was straight, but
it would be really straight.
Never really knew. Okay, are we done with that?
I'm feel pretty good about this. I think I could.
Very kudos. I remember hearing about Japanese that landed up north on the western side, and a lot of them were eaten by crocodiles. They didn't know about that because they don't have crocodiles in Japan.
What? I don't believe that. That's a wives' tale. A lot of them. One guy got eaten by a crocodile.
I bet after one guy got eaten, that was
one guy got eaten by a crocodile, and I'm sure that story was legend for forever.
Maybe he wasn't eaten.
Forever. I mean, it would only take one. Honestly, it would only take the threat of it happening one time, and the story would be like, that's how tall tales get told.
If I had never seen an alligator,
someone made a joke that could happen.
If I'd never seen an alligator and I didn't know about him, crocodile, and I saw one, I'd be freaked out.
They're freaking beasts.
Why are you handing me this after I already put it away? Where's it go?
Because you walked away without taking with you.
But I don't know where you got it from.
Oh, that's on me.
Okay. Great song, yeah.
Okay, and then see right here? There's some places right here, they look like little notches that looks like maybe there was something there that they had little burrs or something.
What I was amazed at with this head is the shape that's around the
spark all have
plug.
that.
They all have it.
Yeah.
On this style head. But not on
all of the 8 heads I got.
All the LA heads, even
all the LA heads have it.
Even the wedge, the closed chamber heads have that.
Even the closed chamber head. It's like a little pre-combustion kind of area.
It's something they did. Okay, we've been here 3.5 hours. Everybody's leaving. I mean, it's just like fading out. And so it's probably time to end this. I told Kim 2 hours, people hang around and we leave. 3 hours, people start to leave. And
very true to that AI. Joe Rogan never said that.
And then in 3.5 hours, at 1:30 in the morning here, people are really drifting away.
Yeah, those guys are going to bed or going to work or doing something.
So what have we got done tonight? We don't have. Oh, Pat Max just came in.
Welcome to the end, Pat.
Welcome to the end. Yeah, like we're way past the end,
We'll
and
be
we're
back
still
on
here.
Saturday.
Put the cap on my drink. Should I leave my big drink up here? Yeah, I'll leave my big drink here so I have something on Saturday.
We got to go up to Hilltop and get some drinks for you.
Yeah, but I got enough of these right now. And that's not just Pat Max. It is member Pat Max.
I know. Sorry, Pat. Now you're gonna have to watch the replay. What was it? About an hour in, he started screaming.
Oh, I got a big old
yelling. He threw a giant.
Don't watch this
angry tantrum.
because I had a big old angry fit halfway through.
Banned a bunch of people out of chat.
I banned one person, but came back.
Ate a crocodile. Bit him right on the head.
Tavo says, I'm still here. Don't plan on going to bed for at least 6 hours. That's because we're here and you're way around here on this side of the planet. You are on the same planet. Yeah, you're on the same planet. Man,
shot a man just to watch him die.
We have nobody here from another planet. Can you imagine that?
That'll happen. Give it
and Mexican Spec.
What about another dimension?
Mexican Spec saying adios. So.
Yeah, they're trying to get us to shut up.
Good night, all. Yep, it's time to. They're good. Pretty soon, I'm gonna look over there, see how many people are in here. It's gonna be 0.
You guys made it to the end.
Do we show one person?
You get an additional 3 points before you leave.
If we're here by ourselves, does it show 1 or 0? I don't know. Are we in that number?
I don't know. Did you leave your computer running in there? In the house?
No, I always click it out because I don't want to overload the. I don't want to cut our bandwidth in half. Yeah. Okay. What the heck? We've been standing around. Bull crap in YouTube.
Been on some crap? Yes. Yeah.
Well, she cleaned up ahead. I had a big old conniption fit.
Here, look at this cruddy.
We charged up 2 radios.
Look at this cruddy, gummed up intake valve I pulled out of this cylinder head.
That's the head she's cleaning.
They were all like this bad or worse, all gummed up and stuck in that head.
So we could do a Tony UTG and put the camera on the head and watch the
paint dry.
Watch something dry, or we could just shut it down.
I think we could shut it down.
I googled it, and apparently it happened in Burma, but people say it was Australia.
Oh,
yeah, there is a difference.
Yeah, but it's more fun to say it's in your country. Yeah,
and I never heard that. I never sleep till 6 to 7
no,
8.
No sleep.
Oh, that's like me. I don't want to do that, but it happens.
Hit the button. That's right.
Hit the button.
The time has come to.
You can't. This is not a mouse. This is a mouse.
Time has come to the button.
I'm gonna click out of the.
Rogan likes a good wildlife, so that's AI. Joe Rogan isn't real. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday night. Check out Mexican Spec on Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Bye.
Because aliens don't exist.
No such thing.
We have all these aliens in here. There's ones from.
They are kind of weird.
Yeah.
Good night, all.
Okay. Good.